Let's hope Ian Dennis is across all of those permutations as well. Paul Robinson alongside him at St James's Park.
Thanks, Mark. I've spent the last 20 minutes just working out the Championship, League One and League Two, so I'll leave National League South for your good self at half-time on what is a very pleasant afternoon here on Tyneside. But as we already know, Celtic, champions of Scotland. Now this afternoon we could have Cardiff and Plymouth relegated from the Championship. Later on, Wrexham could be promoted from League One. Cambridge and Crawley could be relegated today also from League One. Congratulations to Doncaster and Port Vale, who are promoted from League Two. The third automatic slot can't be settled today, but Carlisle United could be relegated from the Football League on an afternoon where Barnet go in the opposite direction. And as for the Premier League, well, you've got 4 points separating 5 clubs for European qualification, and Newcastle United, as a result of Chelsea's win over Everton, have slipped to 6th in the table. But Paul Robinson, the incentive is to get the 3 points that would relegate Ipswich Town but take them 3rd in the Premier League table.
It's a huge ask this afternoon for Ipswich Town. They've made a fist of it this season. They've had a fight. They've given a good account of themselves. Probably they performed the best of the 3 promoted sides who look like they're going down. But to come here this afternoon to a Newcastle side that are in fantastic form. The recent defeat against Aston Villa was probably a surprise after the recent run of form that they've had. But as you know, and everybody knows, they've been fantastic here at St James's Park of late.
Yes, they have. Eddie Howe's Black and White Army is the chant, and the Newcastle United manager is back in the dugout this afternoon after missing the last 3 matches when he was unwell with pneumonia and in fact had to be hospitalised. His team has made 1 change. Joe Linton is out with a knee injury. It means that Willock makes his first start since the end of February. So Pope is in goal. Back 4 of Trippier, Share, Byrne and Livramento, Willock, Guimaraes, Tonali, Murphy, Isaac and Barnes. Newcastle United black and white striped shirts, black shorts, defending the Gallowgate end, therefore playing from right to left against an Ipswich Town side in their royal blue shirts and white shorts that have made 4 changes. They've got Palmer in goal, O'Shea, Greaves, Burgess and Wolfenden, Morsey, Taylor, Ben Johnson, Jack Clark, Enciso and Liam Delap. One of the changes, Liam Delap coming in for Hurst in attack. Salford City lead Colchester United by a 1-0. Now both of those 2 sides still harbour hopes of playoffs in League Two. It's 9th against 8th, and Salford have that early lead as the ball goes over the top towards Murphy, and it's gathered in by goalkeeper Alex Palmer, all in yellow. Paul.
Yeah, interesting one from Kieran McKenna this afternoon, playing with a back 3 or a back 5 out of possession. It's quite clear that Ben Johnson's going to play as a right wing back, Cameron Burgess as a left wing back, the 3 centre halves, Wolfenden, O'Shea and Greaves. When out of possession it does become a 5 very quickly, but when they're in possession they're going to try and get those wing backs further forward and trying to nullify the threat of Newcastle's Jacob Murphy and Harvey Barnes, because that's where a lot of their pressure comes from.
Well, the last time we were together and we saw them play 3 at the back, they got pummeled by Nottingham Forest at home, didn't they?
They did. It was a cold afternoon, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, if only you hadn't left your gloves in your car. No need for gloves today. It's a very mild and even a sunny afternoon now in the northeast of England. We'll also keep you in touch with the last day of the jump season at Sandown. John Hunt will be going off racing very, very soon for the 3 o'clock at Sandown. It's finished actually in League Two. Harrogate Town 1, Notts County 3. So Notts County doing their playoff hopes the world of good. Here is Clark, former Sunderland player, and almost puts it in the back of the net, goes across the face of goal, took a deflection on its way through, corner kick.
Really sloppy by Newcastle, playing around at the back. Dan Burn it was who gave away possession, but it was Liam Delap applying the pressure. We've seen him do that all season. Liam Delap, he's quick, he's sharp. I think his pace surprised Dan Burn. Tried to poke it to his centre-half partner, Fabian Sharp. He was intercepted by Jack Clark. Toe poked wide via deflection. Corner kick to Ipswich.
Notts County's, they're almost there for the playoffs. A lot will depend on how Grimsby fare at MK Dons a little later on. But it's a corner kick for Ipswich Town, who essentially they'll be relegated unless they win and West Ham lose. That is the simple equation. And Ciso with a corner kick near side the right, flicked away by the head of Dan Burn. Far side, Delap heavily linked with Newcastle, fires it back goalwards. Burn again with a clearance, back it comes, Burns downward header, Guimaraes gets it away. But from a Newcastle United point of view, this has got to be a must win, as Tonali looks for Barnes through the middle, but Joe Johnson will see it back and they deal with the threat. Let's go racing. It's the Bet365 Select Hurdle. John Hunt.
2 to jump, all 6 can win prize money here. All 6 covered by 3 lengths here, Ian, as they fly the second last. Blue King Daru just in front from Salva. Then we've got Dan Skelton's Main Hope, Take No Chances in 3rd place. Kitzbühel for Willie Mullins, only back in 5th at the moment, coming down towards the last flight of hurdles. Blue King Daru is out in front from Salva. Kitzbühel now starting to stay on. Take No Chances, now beaten back in 5th himself. Blue King Daru with Salva challenging strongly. Blue King Daru by a nose won it from Salva. Kitzbühel only 3rd for Willie Mullins. Lucky Place was 4th. Dan Skelton's 2 runners have finished 5th and 6th. So even though Kitzbühel hasn't won there, he has picked up £8,000 worth of prize money for finishing in 3rd place. And I think by just a few £100, that puts Mullins in front of Skelton. 3 races to come.
Thank you, John. We'll be back with you for the 3:35 at Sandown. It remains 0-0. Wigan Athletic are leading Blackpool by a goal to nil in League One. Here is Barnes on this near side, the Newcastle left, as they play from right to left, attacking the Leazy's end, where those Ipswich fans are high up in the top tier after that long trip up from Suffolk to the northeast, as Greaves with a header prevents it from reaching Trippier, who'd got forward on that far side, the right, and it's now back at the feet of Alex Palmer, the Ipswich goalkeeper.
They've started brightly of Ipswich. They're playing with almost Enciso alongside Liam Delap today. Ben Johnson on this right-hand side, he's pushing forward at every given opportunity. It is obviously the last roll of the dice for Ipswich. They do need to get a result, they have to get a result, but the way that they've set up, especially in this opening 5 minutes, very attacking formation, and they're going for it, they're going long, they're not apologising for what they're doing. Alex Palmer with the ball in his hands now, going long once again.
It will only delay the inevitable for Ipswich Town, who will be going back down for the 2nd successive season. All 3 promoted sides will be relegated at the first attempt: Southampton, Leicester and Ipswich. And if they're not careful, talk about Southampton being the worst ever side in Premier League history, or the joint worst, because they're now level with Derby County from their meagre tally of 11 points in 2008. From a collective, the 10 wins that they've mustered between them, that would actually be the worst as a collective group to go down, unless they can find another 4. That was from last season's relegated sides. As we welcome listeners to the BBC World Service to St James's Park in the northeast of England, the home, of course, of the League Cup winners, Newcastle United, who know that they'll be in Europe come what may next season, but they want to be back in Europe's elite. They're looking to qualify for the Champions League for a 2nd time in 3 seasons. As Barnes plays the ball towards Livramento, and Livramento charges forward, and with a cut back, it's turned out and away for a throw. So wherever you are in the world, a pleasure to have your company on the World Service this afternoon. It's Newcastle 0, Ipswich 0, and we're also in the company of Paul Robinson.
Yeah, Joe Willock coming into the side today for Joe Linton, obviously injured, not in the match day squad. We're hearing he's going to have to see a specialist, so you wonder whether that would be, his season. You would hope not. But with Newcastle, the squad depth that they've got, they played the same team 7 games in a row, haven't they?
Yes.
And I think that was a little bit of fatigue crept in the Villa game, and saying that only 1 change again today, it maybe shows you that next season they do have to get some depth into that squad.
St Johnstone, bottom of the SPL, are leading at Fir Park. Motherwell Mill, St Johnstone 1. There's been a goal at Barnet. Mark Webber.
It's Barnet 1, Aldershot 0. Barnet needs a better York score to go up to the Football League. York scored earlier on. Mark Shelton has just responded from the penalty spot for Barnet to make it Barnet 1, Aldershot 0.
And that would end a 7-year absence from the Football League for Barnet, as Trippier with a cross from the right-hand side. Ipswich got it up towards Delap. He's been heavily linked with Newcastle, hasn't he? I mean, it's not just the only club he's been linked with. I think it's fair to say we'll still be seeing Liam Delap in the Premier League next season.
I think so. I think when you look at his release clause, I think when you compare that to other prices talked about in the Premier League last season and this season, you're not really taking a chance. You're buying a quality player. There will certainly be a few clubs at the table looking at him.
Here is Barnes, left-hand side of the area. Chips the ball towards the far post. Clearance only as far as Tonali. Willock back with Barnes, comes to a standstill. Willock goes on the overlap. It's a decoy run. Infield then to Tonali. Back out towards Barnes, who's been in form. Works it towards Livramento. Cross from Livramento. Headed away by Burgess in the central area of that penalty area for Ipswich, who are defending deep. And then it'll be tidied up back to Palmer.
He's done excellently well, Livramento. Got his place in the side on his left-hand side. The link-up play that the understanding that he's had with Joe Linton, but now more so Harvey Barnes. You look at the top goal scorers for Newcastle. Isak with 21 Premier League goals. Harvey Barnes is the second top scorer on 9 with 4 assists. He's got himself into the team and he's become a key player.
That's Paul Robinson, who's with us here at St James's Park. No other goals to tell you about just as yet. 0-0. Later on, of course, we'll be bringing you the Crystal Palace Aston Villa first of the FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley. That's at 5:15, and then the big fight live on 5 Live. Coverage starts at 9:30. Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tonali, edge of the area. Murphy, right hand side, and across the face of goal it goes. Kept in play by Barnes on this near side. Newcastle now are very much on the front foot. Here is Guimaraes. Gets away from Enciso. Here is Cher. Thought he was going to shoot. Instead he passes the ball out wide. Trippier right hand side with a cross. Isak is there. Barnes appealing for handball there against Johnson.
Yeah, it's not taking Newcastle long to get into the stride, has it? Really good play by Tonali. Murphy on the right hand side. Ball across the face of the goal. I think they were taken aback by how direct Ipswich were at the start.
Ipswich now can come forward. Clark picks it up. There are the customary boos for a former Sunderland player. And then he's fouled by Trippier. Free kick to Ipswich, 0-0.
He just stands his ground, Kieran Trippier. Jack Clark's got the run on him. There's a turnover of possession. Liam Delap once again winning possession back. Jack Clark running at Trippier, puts the ball round him. Uses all his experience. Kieran Trippier is a long way from goal. Stands there, puts his arms up in the air, says there's nothing I can do. Gives away the free kick. Opportunity for Ipswich to load the box up, which they are currently doing.
Sheffield Wednesday leading Portsmouth by a 0-0 in the Championship. Free kick then for Enciso to take, about 10 yards in from the left touch line. Quite a high line from Newcastle's back line. Jason Tyndall in the technical area, just trying to make a few tweaks to that black and white back line under the partial blue skies in the northeast. Enciso lifts both arms aloft and then waits. The referee is Michael Salisbury. He blows his whistle, and Enciso then rolls it. Back it goes from Morsey to Enciso. It's a high ball into the penalty area. Greaves is the one who will retrieve it on this near side, the right. Johnson helps him out. His cross takes a deflection and allows Guimaraes to head the ball up and then headed away by Livramento. It remains 0-0. No goals between Brighton and West Ham, Southampton and Fulham. Such a key game, though, down at the bottom of the Championship. Hull City, Derby County, Will Perry.
12 minutes gone, Hull 0, Derby 0. Cracking atmosphere at the MKM. Amrabat's had a shot deflected behind for the home side. Remember, Hull win, they stay up. Derby win, and it's in their hands on the last day. Hull 0, Derby 0.
And a Derby win, and Hull City would then be in real trouble. At the minute, it's only the goal difference between them and Luton that would then stop them from dropping into the relegation zone. Luton with a very important victory against Coventry City earlier, both down to 10 men, but Luton Town with Shandon Baptiste in the 90th minute with an all-important victory at Kenilworth Road. Ipswich have got a corner. Meanwhile, a goal at Southampton. Chris Coles.
For Southampton, scored by Jack Stevens. Excellent header from a pinpoint free kick. Southampton 1, Fulham 0.
And there, they could well avoid the tag of the worst team in Premier League history for relegated Southampton. Corner kick, though, for Ipswich Town. Front of the Gallagate end. And Enciso waits to take it. Newcastle have got everybody back. Referee has spotted a little bit of pushing and shoving. Kieran Trippier is the one, I think, trying to protect his goalkeeper from the attentions of Jacob Greaves, who's standing inside that 6-yard area. And Enciso waits to deliver. 0-0 on 5 Live Sport in the World Service. In it comes now. Aimed towards Wolfenden, cleared by Isak. Goal at Deepdale. Julia Bold.
It's Preston 0, Plymouth 1. Mustafa Bundu with that crucial goal that could give Plymouth some hope as they started right at the bottom of the table. Right now, though, Preston 0, Plymouth 1.
Well, Plymouth and Cardiff, the equation was quite simple after that Luton Town win. They both have to win. Cardiff at home to West Brom, and Plymouth doing that against a Preston North End side who really have slipped towards the danger area in the Championship. 6 without a win for Preston North End. Where will we go next then on BBC Radio 5 Live? There's 14 minutes played at St James's Park. It remains 0-0. Was it to Middlesbrough and Norwich, Shojo Saka? Oh no, a goal at Brighton, Sir Hale.
Yeah, Brighton 1, West Ham 0. Ian, it's come after 30 minutes. Yassin Ayari, his first for Brighton, 25 yards out, right-footed curler, no chance for Areola. Brighton 1, West Ham 0.
I'm glad you're paying attention for you to write that down for me, Paul.
Somebody's got to look after you. You've got a lot going on this afternoon, haven't you?
So Brighton are ahead, Southampton are ahead, Wolves Leicester is 0-0. Chelsea earlier beat Everton by 1-0, and it's 0-0 here. Willock has just been told to calm down by referee Michael Salisbury, just getting involved in a little bit with Sam Morsy. Yeah,
there's a coming together in the middle of the pitch. He did get away from him, Joe Willock. He got on the wrong side of Sam Morsy. Sam Morsy quite crudely brought him down in the middle of the pitch, and the two had a coming together afterwards, a disagreement. It started to get a little bit scrappy, this game.
Well, Cher waits to take the free kick for Newcastle United. I can only imagine that there must have been some VAR check there again. Supporters wouldn't have a clue. But that was the reason for the delay, because there was clear, you could see with the referee having some sort of communication with the VAR James Bell, as Tonali strokes it back towards Cher. Cher will gently jog his way into the centre circle. Guimaraes then makes himself available and passes the ball out to Murphy. Trippier goes on the overlap. Guimaraes is available in field. He uses Trippier. They appeal for handball. Not spotted by the referee, not awarded as a result. And then the ball is stroked out towards Enciso. And Johnson could be going on ahead of him, but Pope is already up and out of his penalty area, and Newcastle deal with any threat of a counter-attack. We'll get an update then. So we know Plymouth have to win, and they are leading. Likewise for Cardiff. They're at home to West Brom. Molly Stevens.
Indeed, two huge chances at either end of the pitch here. Ian, Callum Chambers' header cleared off the line by West Brom's Isaac Price. Only for Price to have an opportunity for his own side down the other end. A shot just wide to the right-hand side of the post. Remember, Cardiff have to win to avoid relegation. 0-0.
Could be a rather nervous last day though for Preston, because their goal difference, when you look at the table, isn't much better than Derby County. Derby at Hull City, where it remains 0-0 in that key game. Very, very tight and congested down at the bottom of the Championship. Tonali picks it up on the halfway line. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, Newcastle dominating the game now with possession. Ipswich, when they're out of possession, sit in this low defensive block, 5 at the back. They're very, very deep, and when the turnover of possession does happen, they're struggling to get forward and get out their own half, Ipswich, because everyone to a man is within 20 yards of their own goal.
Cross comes in from the right by Murphy, and that was blocked, and it goes behind and out for a Newcastle United corner kick. 17 minutes played. 0-0. Mentioned a big fight later on 5 Live. 1990, the big fight back then was Eubank against Ben, and Liverpool winning the title at Anfield. It's like history repeating itself, because tomorrow Liverpool will have that opportunity against Tottenham, and we will have exclusive commentary of that game from Anfield on BBC Radio 5 Live. That second FA Cup semi-final as a result on Sports Extra. They both kick off at the same time, 4:30. Murphy with a cutback. Willock lets it run through. Tonali didn't read it. Byrne can't retrieve it. Instead, Delap breaks away, and Delap is over the halfway line, and Enciso is going ahead of him, but the arcing ball goes away from Enciso and allows Pope to come out of his penalty area and put the ball out into the east stand over on that far side, and it remains goalless. Pat Murphy at Molineux.
It's 0-0, but Leicester nearly gave a self-induced goal. Like so many defenders these days, they were faffing around like a Pep Guardiola tribute act, and then the keeper Helmanson put it straight to Andre, 40 yards out. He had a dip, went just wide. It would have served Leicester right if they conceded the goal, but it's Wolves 0, Leicester 0.
Thank you, Pat. And the header back by Trippier to Pope. Barnsley 0, Shrewsbury 1 is the latest score in League One. You like the line of the Pep Guardiola tribute act, didn't you, Paul?
Very good, yeah, wasn't it? You can relate to that very, very easily, can't you? Everybody trying to do what Manchester City and Pep and others have doing at the top of the Premier League, just not with quite the same efficiency or level of ability.
Well, here is Livramento back on this left-hand side to Byrne. The England international, he goes square. Cher, just outside the centre circle. Trippier takes it on the halfway line, forward towards Murphy. And then he was checked, and that'll be a foul, and Jacob Greaves was the offender, no action to be taken against the Ipswich defender, but a free kick to Newcastle, 0-0.
Much to the disappointment of the Newcastle fans on the far side there, right in front of the incident. He did really well, Jacob Murphy. Great first touch. Puts it through Jacob Greaves' legs, actually. Jacob Greaves just says, no, not having that. Puts his arm around him, brings him to the ground. Quite crudely, actually. Arm around his neck.
Murphy's back on his feet now and is at full pelt. Couldn't keep that ball in play as it goes out for a goal kick. London Road in League One. Peterborough United are leading Bolton Wanderers by 1-0. You are up to date, but the results earlier: Luton beating Coventry by 1-0. Burnley going 3 points clear after hammering Queen's Park Rangers by 5-0 at the top of the Championship. In League One, Bristol Rovers 0, Reading 2, Leyton Orient 1, Wycombe 0. That's the case of as you were for Reading and Leyton Orient for the last playoff berth in League One, but that victory for Richie Wellens' side against Wycombe by 1-0 means that Phil Parkinson's Wrexham can clinch promotion behind Birmingham City if they are to beat Charlton in that 5:30 kickoff. Alex Palmer is testing the patience of the Newcastle crowd with that the amount of time to take the goal kick. Goes out of play for a Newcastle throw. And the results in League Two: Wimbledon 0, Port Vale 2, they're promoted. Doncaster beat Bradford City 2-1, Doncaster are promoted, and Harrogate Town 1, Notts County 3. Paul.
That was a really strange coming together between Cameron Burgess, the Ipswich captain, and Alex Palmer, arguing over who was going to take the goal kick. We talk about the imitation of Pep Guardiola and playing out from the back. Quite often see teams roll the goal kicks across the 6-yard box. Alex Palmer, the goalkeeper, was having none of it, yet his centre-half Cameron Burgess wanted to give him the ball in the 6-yard box. A bit of pushing and shoving between the two of them. In that key game in the League Two playoff positions, or vying to get into the positions, Salford City have got a second goal. They now lead Colchester United by 2-0. Exeter 0, Huddersfield Town 1 is the latest score in League One. Tranmere Rovers are leading Crewe by 1-0. That could have huge significance at the bottom of League Two, and maybe coming in the other direction at Barnet. Mark Webber, you've seen another goal.
Because it's Barnet 2, Aldershot 0. A second penalty for Mark Shelton. A low trickle into the left this time. It's 2-0. That means Barnet will go up.
As the cross comes in from the right-hand side, and Carlisle will be relegated as the ball goes into the back of the net. But the referee had already blown his whistle. And it will be a free kick to Ipswich Town.
Yeah, it was a wonderful ball in on the right-hand side. Great cross into the edge of the 6-yard box. Darragh O'Shea, from a defensive point of view, there's nothing he could do. He just headed it straight up in the air. Horrible one for goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Ball straight above him, dropping under his crossbar. Bruno Guimaraes just stands where the goalkeeper wants to be. He doesn't really foul him, but he stands where the goalkeeper wants to jump. Goalkeeper tries to get into that area, bumps into Bruno Guimaraes, who heads it into an empty net. Referee immediately disallowed it, but VAR will check it. It's a horrible ball for the goalkeeper to deal with. Bruno just stands at the far post, kind of turns round, sticks his backside and back into the goalkeeper, stops him from jumping. I don't think this one will be given. I think the referee's decision will stand.
Decision, no goal. Foul by Bruno Guimaraes.
Decision, no goal.
And that was probably one of the easiest decisions, although he does go to ground very easily, doesn't he, Alex Palmer?
The goalkeeper does go to ground very easily, but Guimaraes is clever. He knows exactly where the goalkeeper wants to stand and where he wants to jump. He doesn't foul him immediately. He just waits till he gets into that area, then just gives him a nudge and knocks him off balance. It was a foul.
So Tranmere will be staying up as they lead Crewe by 1-0. Doesn't matter what Carlisle United do at Cheltenham. They'll be getting relegated along with Morecambe, as Ipswich not necessarily proving to be walkovers here for a Champions League chasing Newcastle United. Livramento picks it up, leaves it for Guimaraes, passes the ball out towards Barnes. Barnes runs forward, cuts inside now off this left touch line. Shot takes a deflection off O'Shea, headed away by Burgess, only as far as Trippier. Plays it short and diagonal to Murphy. Murphy level with the penalty area, plays the ball in field. Guimaraes less than 30 yards out from goal. Back out towards Trippier, waited, first time cross as a result, and flying Greaves heads it behind for a corner kick. 0-0.
Pressure is mounting from Newcastle, and most of their good players coming down the right-hand side. The interchange between Trippier, Jacob Murphy, that's 2 or 3 good crosses they've had now, all from the right-hand side. Ipswich have defended them reasonably well to this point, but you just feel that Newcastle are starting to get a foothold in this game.
Stockport County 0, Lincoln City 1 is the latest score in League One. Brighton, remember, lead West Ham by a goal to 0. Southampton are 1-0 up against Fulham. 0-0 at Molineux, 0-0 here. In comes the corner kick, goes very, very deep. Byrne leaves it towards Guimaraes, runs down the dead ball line on this left-hand side, passes the ball towards Tonali with his back to goal, left of the penalty area. Portsmouth have equalised at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Portsmouth 1. Newcastle are attacking Murphy central area, passes the ball out with purpose. Trippier with the cross, headed away by Wolfenden. Salford City 3, Colchester United 0 is the latest score in League 2. So Salford, actually, as it currently stands, would go into a playoff position. It would be Bradford, Notts County, Wimbledon and Salford going into the last day who occupy those playoff positions, because with Walsall drawing against Accrington, looking to take advantage of Bradford's defeat in that Yorkshire derby at Doncaster Rovers. 0-0 here in the Premier League. It's a busy Saturday afternoon. Here is Barnes on the left-hand side. Livramento comes behind him on the overlap. Livramento waits. O'Shea stands in front of him. Now back with Byrne. And this is Cher, forward of the centre circle. Guimaraes with his back to goal. Taylor follows him. Murphy leaves it for Trippier. Ipswich defending in those royal blue shirts and defending in numbers. Murphy makes a run right-hand side of the penalty area. Turns and cuts it back to Guimaraes, goes away from him, and Ciso leaves it. And then all of a sudden there's an opportunity here for Taylor to bring the ball clear for Ipswich Town, helped out by Johnson. Paul.
What Ipswich have done really well this afternoon, they've nullified the threat of Alexander Isak. You notice the amount of times that we haven't mentioned Isak in commentary. Ipswich are sitting deep, they're not allowing him to run in behind, and the three centre-halves, they're occupying Isak. Newcastle are going to have they're having to find another way. They're rotating the ball, they're recycling the ball from left flank to right flank, and they're putting crosses in the box, because the usual ball over the top, using the pace of Isak, the ball down the side, the one over the top's nullified because Ipswich are holding a deep line. The one down the side is nullified because they've got three centre-halves, one either side of him, so they're having to find another way without finding those runs for Alexander Isak this afternoon.
That's the voice of the former England international goalkeeper Paul Robinson, who's with us here on 5 Live and the World Service, also available on the BBC Sounds app this afternoon. 0-0. Trippier tidies up. Is there an off the ball incident there with Willock and Morsey again?
Yeah, it's continuing from the earlier incident here, and the one that they had in the centre circle. The ball went from Alex Palmer, the goalkeeper, completely the opposite side of the field, but Sam Morsey and Joe Willock, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other in the middle of the pitch, absolutely nowhere near the ball, 50-60 yards away from the ball. Referees stopped the game and VAR are looking at it. Willock and Morsey are still walking together, middle of the pitch, having a discussion, but there was a coming together.
So again, the referee has stopped the play, but there's nothing on the giant screen. It's only experience tells you that VAR is having a look at that. Paying spectator is still left bewildered. And it will be James Bell to have a look at Stockley Park, but they are checking for a possible red card for violent conduct.
It's a coming together between the two of them in the middle of the pitch. I mean, it looks like now the check's over. Newcastle allowed to play on with a throw-in. But obviously, listen, the way that VAR is now, it's always watching. You can't get away with anything. But there is something there to keep an eye on between Willock and Morsey. There's a real needle between the two of them.
It'd be foolish to let that warning go unheeded with Sam Morsey, bearing in mind that Michael Salisbury's made it quite clear for them to cut it out with 28 minutes played. 0-0. Newcastle United looking to try and get back into the thick of a top 5 finish. They're currently on the periphery after the result from earlier today, with Chelsea beating Everton by a goal to 0. Cher comes forward and passes the ball out wide. They've still got to play, Chelsea too have Newcastle. Here is Murphy, blocked, corner kick, right hand side.
They're so very deep, Ipswich now. Newcastle is about how quickly they can move the ball and try and pull that Ipswich defence out of position. They sit very, very deep with the back 5, and now the rest of the players, the midfield, and even Liam Delap, all camped inside their own defensive third. And when they do turn over possession, they're struggling to keep hold of the ball.
Trippier with a corner kick far side the right, and it comes over the head of Byrne. Referee's blown his whistle, spotted an infringement. Free kick to Ipswich Town. In fact, looking at Newcastle's remaining fixtures, Brighton away next Sunday, then it's Chelsea on the 11th at home, Arsenal away, and then Everton at home on the 25th, as Oxford United are leading Sunderland by 1-0. Oxford United, that would mean that they are safe in the Championship. They were only 3 points clear of the relegation zone earlier today, but that would take them to 52 points for a Sunderland team that just seemed for so long to have not been able to catch the top three above them in the Championship, but at no point has their position in the playoff positions in the Championship ever come under any threat. As Clark, a former Sunderland player, stands on the ball, and Newcastle United are in possession once again, 0-0.
Does well there, Tonali. Clark stands on the ball, loses possession halfway inside Newcastle's half. Tonali regains it and he goes for that ball alongside the centre halves for Alexander Isak, but once again it's cut out by Ipswich.
Carlisle United are leading at Cheltenham by 1-0, but it matters not at the moment because of Tranmere leading Crewe, as here is Johnson for Ipswich. Johnson taken out by Byrne, on the edge of the area, and instead Johnson has been penalised for a dive and has been shown a yellow card. It'll be a free kick to Newcastle. Let's get news of that goal at Cheltenham from Sam Ashu.
0, Carlisle 1 in. The ball breaks free to Matthew Dennis, the former Arsenal man, one-on-one with the keeper, and slotted it perfectly past Joe Day. Is the great escape on for them? They're doing what they need to do, but as things stand, like you mentioned before, they will go down because of the results for Tranmere and Accrington. It's Cheltenham 0, Carlisle 1.
Yeah, Tranmere are leading still 1-0 against Crewe. Let's get news of the Oxford goal. Mike Williams.
What a crucial goal this could turn out to be for Oxford. It's Ben Nelson, the defender, up from the back with a powerful header past Patterson in the Sunderland goal. The ball swung in, just a textbook defender's free header, and it's given Oxford a 1-0 lead here over Sunderland.
14 minutes to go to half-time. 0-0, 5 live in the World Service. Ball rears up for Livramento. Awkward for actually to get his head over it, and bounced off the top of his head and straight towards Johnson. What did you think about that incident just a short time ago?
I think he's unlucky, Ben Johnson, and I think VAR took a long, hard look at it. The referee gave a free kick in Newcastle's favour, saying that Ben Johnson had simulated, dived over Dan Burn, but actually Dan Burn dangled a leg out. There was some contact. Granted that Ben Johnson was looking for the contact. He waited, left his foot in. But if it had gone the other way, I don't think VAR would have overturned it. I think he was lucky there, Dan Burn.
Had it gone the other way, Burn would have probably been sent off for the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity.
Well, that's it. It would have been a huge overturn by VAR. From Johnson getting booked for a dive, it would have been a red card and possible penalty for Ipswich.
What was it the referee's directive said at the start of this season? Referee's call, and Ciso has a snapshot. Played in down the right-hand side by Morsey from a free kick just inside the Newcastle half, right corner of the area. Hit it first time, right-footed, off target. There's been a goal at Molineux. Pat Murphy. Hello, Pat.
Goal for Wolves. It's come from Matthias Cunha. It's been coming for some time. Lovely move. Touch from Cunha. Aignery down the wing. Left foot cross low. Turned in expertly by Cunha. Wolves 1. Leicester 0.
Wolves on course for a 6th successive victory. Leicester City before today, 1 point out of a possible 30.
They've gone down with a whimper, haven't they?
Oh.
They've really gone down with a whimper. I think since Ruud van Nistelrooy's come in, you look at the points per game ratio, it's been poor. The lack of goals that they've scored at home as well. I think there's a lot of changes that need to happen for them next season, whether it be a manager, whether it be a squad overhaul. We know that Jamie Vardy's not going to be there next year, whether Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to be there next year. But I think there's a lot of things that have to change for them to get back in the Premier League and stay in.
Southampton 1, Fulham 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, West Ham United 0 are the other latest scores in the Premier League. 0-0 it remains here. Another goal at Cheltenham in League 2, Sam Ashu.
Yeah, it's a big goal at the bottom of the English Football League, Ian, and it's gone to Cheltenham. They've equalised. It's Jordan Thomas. He won the penalty. He was brought down by the goalkeeper. He stepped up, slotted it bottom corner. Carlisle were going down as things stand because of the Tranmere result anyway, and as things stand now, it is 1-1 here at Cheltenham.
Yeah, destiny is not in their own hands. So Carlisle United facing relegation. 1-1 there between Cheltenham and Carlisle in League 2. 12 minutes to go to half-time, and Ciso tries to get around Tonali. Tonali then was being held back by Ciso, and that will be a free kick. Kieran McKenna doesn't necessarily agree with the decision. as he complains for the young Ipswich Town manager. And Peterborough United, there's been another goal at London Road, and Bolton have equalised. Peterborough United 1, Bolton Wanderers 1. We're up to date with the goals as they go in. Paul.
Yeah, just noticing Eddie Howe. He's not as active as he normally is. It's great to see him back on the touchline today. Jason Tyndall's taken the team in recent weeks. He's the one that's on the edge of the technical area. Eddie Howe, every now and then, he pops in and out the dugout, but he spent quite a lot of the first half sat on his seat.
Here is Livramento. This is Barnes. Barnes with the cross. Isak with a header. Couldn't get over it. 6 yards out. Heads it off target. 0-0. Goal kick.
First opportunity for Alexander Isak in this game. Great work down this left-hand side by Harvey Barnes. He just gets a yard. That's all he needs. Sometimes he tries to overplay. Really nice ball into him. Martino Livramento again, the link-up play. Isak gets himself in between two Ipswich centre-halves. Just 6-7 yards out. Can't quite get enough purchase on the header.
Any Bradford City fans still travelling after seeing your side lose at Doncaster Rovers as Murphy sends in a cross. Isak volleys over. Listen to this scoreline from the Bescott Stadium. Steve Wyeth.
It's fantastic news for Bradford. Walsall are behind, in danger of a 13th successive game without a win. Accrington Stanley in front, courtesy of Ben Wood's brilliant dipping volley from the edge of the penalty area. Accrington will be safe as it stands. Walsall 0, Stanley 1.
And that means that Bradford still are third because Walsall dropped to 74 in the live league table. Very, very tight to see who will get that third automatic promotion slot behind Doncaster Rovers and Port Vale, promoted today, but the title for League Two will go right to the wire. Elsewhere, there are no other goals to tell you about on this dramatic afternoon, certainly in the Football League. But in the Premier League, 0-0 here. If you'd have said of all the games to be played today, as we approach 10 minutes to half-time, this were the one without a goal for an Ipswich side who are on the brink of relegation, you probably wouldn't have selected St James's Park as a venue, as Delap's deflected shot should be routinely saved by Pope.
Yeah, they started well, Ipswich, but they have dropped off, and I think you've got to realise where they are. And Kieran McKenna, he's urging his side forward, but this defensive shape that they've got, when they're out of possession, they're almost afraid of Newcastle. They drop deep, stick 5 men behind the ball. The back 5 is very regimented, very organised. The 2 central holding midfielders protect them, and Newcastle have struggled thus far to break them down.
Murphy sent away on the right hand side. Murphy with a cross in towards Isak. Cleared away. And this is Byrne. Plays it down this near left hand side. Isak being held back by Johnson on this occasion. It's got to be a yellow card for Johnson, and he's going to be off. And Ipswich are down to 10 men. And Ben Johnson, who was booked for a dive earlier in the half, now shown a second yellow card for holding back Isak, and Ipswich are down to 10.
Kieran McKenna beneath us is absolutely furious, wagging his finger at the 4th official. He's raging, the Ipswich manager. He knew that it was going to be a massive task here today at St James's Park. Ben Johnson questionably got booked for a dive on the edge of the Newcastle box, walks past his manager nonchalantly just throws his thumb at him as to say, get down the tunnel. It was a strange decision by Ben Johnson to pull back Alexander Isak in that position. Wide left on this near touchline, wraps both his arms around Isak. Isak's away. He's not really threatening the goal. He's heading towards the byline to put a cross in. Ben Johnson wraps him up, takes a second yellow card. Ipswich's task is now humongous.
You've got to say that the lack of discipline from Ben Johnson there, it's astonishing.
Well, twice. If he's got booked for a dive, and then once he knows that he's been booked for a petulant dive, he does something like that. Isak's not going towards goal. I mean, this free kick's 5 yards from the near touchline, heading towards the byline. There's no way he was threatening the goal. He didn't need to do that, Ben Johnson.
Free kick for Newcastle. Trippier on the left-hand side, rolls it short to Barnes, gets the ball back from Tonali. Here is Barnes, blocked by Morsey. And all of a sudden, Ipswich Town, it's going to be backs to the wall now.
Well, they're just going to look to get to half-time, aren't they now? They've got to get to half-time. Look to Kieran McKenna to regroup, to reorganise. You wonder whether that back 5 will change to a back 4 and a defensive midfield 3 in front and just sit back.
From the corner kick, Tonali to Trippier, out wide then to Murphy. Newcastle United are attacking right corner of the area. Remains 0-0. Plays the ball in short to Willock, and then all of a sudden Newcastle go further back. Let's go racing. It's the celebration chase at Sandown. John Hunt.
And the hot favourite John Bond leads narrowly over the second last, but Willie Mullins' Ilete Tomp is coming, looking very threatening as well. Energumen's back in third, so Mullins 1 and 3 at the moment in this race for the Trainers' Championship. They're over the last. Ilete Tomp is out in front. John Bond, the hot favourite's got no response. This is a surprise, very welcome winner for Willie Mullins. Ilete Tomp, ridden by Danny Mullins, has beaten John Bond. Energumen's finished third. Dan Skelton's 2 runners, both well beaten, and that, Ian, is 1 hand and 4 fingers on the National Trainers' Championship trophy for Willie Mullins. He is now looking unstoppable. The big race is the Gold Cup at 4:10. Mullins, to remind you, has 10 of the 20 runners there, but Ilete Tomp has just helped him, maybe propelled him to a second Trainers' Championship.
Thank you, John. Look forward to hearing you for the big race at 4:10. Goals in Scotland: Hearts 0, Dundee 1, Kilmarnock 1, Ross County 0. Huge goal at Crawley though, Charlotte Richardson.
Crawley 1, Northampton 0. Rushy and Hepburn Murphy with the goal. Crawley desperately need to keep their hopes of staying in League One alive. A clinical strike puts the pressure on Burton above them, who are currently drawing, meaning there's a point the difference as things stand. Crawley 1, Northampton 0.
Yeah, Crawley could have gone down today if they were to lose, and Burton avoid defeat against Cambridge. Exeter have equalised at home to Huddersfield Town in League One. That's 1-1. And in the Championship, as far as the playoff positions are concerned, Millwall Swansea, a goal. Betty Glover.
Massive goal when it comes to the race for the playoffs. Millwall 1, Swansea 0. This had been coming. George Saville tapping at the back post. The keeper managed to get to it, but it ricocheted in. It came from a free kick on the edge of the box. Was pinging around, but Saville smashed it home. Millwall 1, Swansea 0.
Ben Godfrey has come on for Jack Clark. That's the substitution that Ipswich have made, enforced after the sending off of Ben Johnson. At Fir Park, Motherwell have equalised at home to bottom of the table St Johnstone. Trippier over on that right hand side for Newcastle, still 0-0, 4.5 minutes to go to half time. Ball played in towards Isak, and it was almost an own goal from a sliding O'Shea. Just wouldn't go in, but it does go behind for a corner kick. They're knocking on the door now, Newcastle.
I don't know how that stayed out. I really don't. Again, it's the right-hand side. Lovely 1-2 down the right-hand side. Kieran Trippier, Jacob Murphy, ball across the box. Almost slips as he's trying to clear it. Darragh O'Shea goes between his goalkeeper's legs and just narrowly misses the far post for another corner.
Trippier with a corner kick, goes deep towards the far post, and a back header away from O'Shea, and it's another corner kick, but from the right they have a corner now on this near side, the left. Millwall now currently go above Middlesbrough, but Coventry are hanging on to that 6th place berth on 66 points. Millwall level on 66. Coventry have a superior goal difference of +4. Middlesbrough, if they could beat Norwich today, they would also go to 66. The corner's taken short, played back towards Trippier, finds Barnes inside the penalty area, drills it low inside the 6-yard area. Guimaraes has a swing at that, and Ciso loses out. Can't get past Tonali. No foul, says the referee. Kieran McKenna waves his hand away in disgust at the referee's direction. Tonali now towards Byrne, right-hand side of the area. Tonali now with a cross. The header drops wide, but goalwards, headed off the line. What an effort that was from Luke Wolfenden. Goal line clearance with his head, behind for a corner kick.
That's a brilliant header by Wolfenden. All hands to the pump now for Ipswich Town. They're absolutely certain that they should have had a free kick in the middle of the pitch, and Ciso trying to run the ball out the danger area, but it wasn't a turnover of possession again. Once again, it's the right-hand side. Tonali this time. Beautiful ball into the middle of the 6-yard box. Isak's original header to the far post. Bruno Guimaraes tries to turn it back goalwards over everybody's head, but there's Luke Wolfenden acrobatically clears it off the line.
Motherwell have turned it around. They now lead St Johnstone 2-1 at Fir Park. Stockport 0, Lincoln City 2 is the latest score in League One, and Barrow leading Bromley by a goal to 0 in League Two. Newcastle wait to take the corner kick. Just over 2 minutes to go. The referee is delaying the corner kick, so there must be another VAR check for something. because the assistant referee stood in front of Trippier. Again, another delay. Again, the paying punter doesn't have a clue what's going on as a result. A lot of pushing and shoving going on in that penalty area. The referee has to be watchful. Newcastle 0-0, have a corner kick that Trippier threatens to take short. Still Delap and Byrne are having a bit of a tug and push and shove at each other, and they're both going to be shown a yellow card. Both Byrne and Delap are booked as a result.
It's comical, absolutely comical. The referee's warned them once. 5 yards from the referee, he stood there looking at them, and he's talking to them saying, look, I can see you both, and they're still doing it. They just stood literally within a yard of each other. It's like a test of strength between Delap and Dan Byrne.
Well, still, they're actually coming together. There is contact between the two. Corner kick is taken short on the right. Trippier plays it too short, nipped in.
That's a penalty. That should be a penalty.
Byrne has been wrestled to the floor by Delap.
He put 2 arms around him and took him down at the far post. That wouldn't have been a miss at Twickenham.
It's like panto season.
It's ridiculous.
Guimaraes with a cross. Byrne waits. Isak mishits it. Screws it wide. Out towards Murphy, right-hand side. Deliberately rolls it short. Tonali! Oh, hits the corner of the crossbar. And Barnes almost tried to run the ball in, but it bounced off his chest and went away from him. And Tonali's so close. And the 10 then of Ipswich are hanging on. We're inside the last 60 seconds, 0-0. Tonali goes out wide. Floats it out towards Murphy. Murphy on the right, and Ciso can't stand over the cross. In it comes now. Willock rises and swept to safety by Delap. A must-win game for Cardiff in the Championship, and there's been a goal. Molly Stevens.
Well, there had been. It's been chalked off for offside. Callum Chambers, a header into the top left-hand corner. That could have been huge for Cardiff City in their quest for Championship survival. Remember, if they lose today, they go down. If they draw today, they go down. That goal does not stand. 0-0 against West Brom.
Strong penalty appeals here now for Newcastle United. Referee Michael Salisbury coming under a lot of pressure, Paul.
Yeah, this is ridiculous now. Every single Newcastle player surrounding the referee on the far side. Once again, it's on the right-hand side. Jacob Murphy comes together with Enciso. It is this time inside the Ipswich box. Referee will check. They're going to check 2 penalties, because Dan Byrne was brought to the ground earlier by Liam Delap. And that one there, Jacob Murphy, taken down by Enciso.
Well, VAR will have a look at it. Rangers, incidentally, had taken the lead, but St Mirren have quickly equalised. Celtic earlier winning the title in emphatic fashion, 5-0 at Tannadice, a record equalling 55th top-flight title for Celtic. So VAR having a look for this foul from Enciso inside the area or just outside.
Well,
probably in.
It looks in. He's certainly fallen over inside. It's a lovely through ball inside Enciso. Enciso gets the wrong side of Jacob Murphy. He's on the outside of him. Murphy gets on the inside the box, gets there first, and it just depends. We can't really see on these small monitors. There's an arm around Jacob Murphy. It just depends if there was any contact with the lower limb down. Referee's shown us the VAR signal. He's going to go and have a look, and we know what that means.
We do know what this means. So James Bell, the VAR, has instructed Michael Salisbury to go to the monitor that is now extended to his eye line in front of the east stand, and he stands in his orange referee's jersey watching, and this will be the instruction that this will be a penalty to Newcastle United. And Ipswich Town have got themselves involved in a lot of nonsense off the ball here today.
Yeah, they have. I think obviously since Ben Johnson got sent off, they've been a little bit ragged, a little bit disgruntled. They found it difficult to get reorganised. Ben Godfrey's come on. He's wanted to keep the back 5 in place, but they've been very, very defensive. They're literally hanging on for their lives to get to half-time by hook or by crook, fouling, breaking the game up. Gamesmanship, call it what you like. It's been scruffy, it's not been nice, and it looks for all the world that Newcastle are about to get a penalty and have the opportunity to go in 1-0 up at half-time.
Cambridge United have to win in League One. They're down to 10 men. Ryan Loft has been sent off in first half injury time, as here Michael Salisbury, after having a look at the monitor, awards Newcastle United a penalty kick for them to take the lead. At the Leesy's end of the ground, he had a good, long, hard look at it, and Kieran McKenna will only be questioning the ill discipline that some of his players have shown here this afternoon.
Yeah, I think the referee took a lot of advice from those in black and white shirts on the far side. I think they were advising him quite strongly to give the penalty, but when you look at it and you look at the replay, Jacob Murphy does extremely well, and Ciso leaves himself wide open to give away the penalty. He's got his arm round him, and there was connection there. Referee didn't initially give it. He was quite close to the incident, waved it away straight away, but then as soon as the ball went out of play, VAR advised him to go and look at it, and I think the right decision's been got to there in the end.
Alexander Isak with 25 goals to his name for the season. His record is almost near perfect, 11 from 12 from the spot kick for Newcastle United in his career, and he waits now against Alex Palmer, who's yet to keep a clean sheet since he arrived at Ipswich Town. 3, 4, 5 strides back, then one to the left for Alexander Isak. Newcastle United looking to go third. Isak scores, emphatic penalty, and Ipswich Town have that sinking feeling. Newcastle United lead by 1-0.
Excellent penalty by Isak. Stands there 4 or 5 yards away from the ball, legs wide open, slow run up, but then he quickens his run up. It's not the usual stutter. Knows exactly where he's going to go. Inside of the right foot, hard and low to the goalkeeper's left. Goalkeeper waits, goes the right way, can't get there. Isak puts Newcastle 1 up.
There's been another goal at Cheltenham in League 2. Sam Ashu.
Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 1. Things have gone from bad to worse for Carlisle. It's route 1. A long ball falls to Ashley Hay in the Brentford loanee. Lobs it brilliantly over keeper Gabe Breeze. And with results at Accrington and Tranmere, it looks an impossible task now. Carlisle heading to the National League for the first time in 20 years. At half-time, it's Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 1.
Indeed, Tranmere are leading Crewe by 1-0 at half-time. And Ipswich Town 1-0 down to 10 men and facing immediate relegation.
I think they've only got themselves to blame. They started the game really well, started the game positively, but certain areas, lack of discipline has let them down. Ben Johnson being sent off and not been able to regroup, reorganise quick enough. The game became very scrappy. Newcastle were just pressing the pressure button. You could see more and more down that right-hand side with Jacob Murphy, Trippier, Gomeres having his goal chalked off. It was only a matter of time before Newcastle scored.
So Newcastle United going back third. Manchester City and Chelsea fill the other 2 Champions League positions behind Liverpool and Arsenal and Newcastle in that top 3. Nottingham Forest then currently relegated outside of a Champions League qualification place. Now I mentioned that Cambridge had Ryan Loft sent off. There's been another red card. Nikesh Rugani.
Well, just a minute after that, Burton also down to 10 men. JJ McKiernan sent off for a foul on Cambridge keeper Jack Stevens for violent conduct as well. Both sides down to 10 men. We're deep into stoppage time here. It's Burton 0, Cambridge 0.
Thank you, Nikesh, as the half-time whistle is sounded here at St James's Park. And Newcastle United leading 1-0 through that Isak penalty. Johnson sent off for 2 bookable offences. And then that penalty in injury time, Paul Robinson.
It's a massive task now for Ipswich Town. They came here, played a back 5, which they don't necessarily always play. Played with 3 centre-halves, and out of possession they were a deep back 5, played a very low block, which initially it nullified the threat of Alexander Isak, but then Newcastle got into the game, they got a foothold, and in the wide areas with Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Trippier pushing on, they started causing all kinds of problems in the wide areas, dominated possession. It was only going to be a matter of a time before Newcastle scored. Lack of discipline, ill discipline, has really cost Ipswich in this first half.
Half-time then in the sunshine in the northeast. Newcastle United 1, Ipswich Town 0.
Well, let's go to St Mary's, where Southampton are on course for a win, Chris Coles.
And to smash Derby's unwanted record by potentially 3 points. They lead Fulham by 1-0, given to them by Jack Stevens. Flicked header into the corner from Ryan Manning's free kick. He just helped it on its way, all the quality in the delivery. Marco Silva must be on page 5 or 6 of his notepad. He spent the majority of the first half furiously scribbling, which gives you an idea of the half Fulham have had. Lots of the ball, but minimal attacking threat. Southampton need just a point to beat Derby's worst ever Premier League points tally. They're on course for all 3. Southampton 1, Fulham 0.
Every single game in the Premier League so far 1-0 to the home side. Pat Murphy.
1-0 to Wolves. Matheus Cunha has been superb. Great range of passing, imaginative link-up and a fine goal. He started the move, Aitken Reid down the left, low cross, flicked in by Cunha. He's been head and shoulders above everybody else on this pitch. Leicester just aren't at it. Wolves 1, Leicester 0.
And Brighton a goal up then as well. Sahel Sahi.
Yep, Brighton a touch better mark in the first half without real quality. The one outstanding moment was the goal 13 minutes in when Yassin Ayari with a curling dipping effort 20 yards away. It was too good for Areola. That was Ayari's first for Brighton. West Ham through a Souček header forced Verbruggen into a fingertip save which bounced away off the crossbar. Adingra thought he put Brighton 2 up. That was ruled out by VAR for offside. It's been an uninspiring half of football. Half-time here, Brighton 1, West Ham 0.
Now, earlier in the Championship, Burnley won 5-0 at QPR to go 3 points clear at the top. They have 1 to play. Leeds have 2 to play. It finished Luton 1, Coventry 0. Both sides down to 10 in that game. So that leaves Coventry vulnerable in the playoff spot. It takes Luton out of the bottom 3. So that makes it a very nervous day at the MKM Stadium. Will Perry.
Yeah, Hull 0, Derby 0. You can sense those nerves here. No clear-cut chances. It's not a great game so far. Comfortable saves from the Hull keeper Pandor to keep out Slater and Puerta. Vickers at the other end was out well to smother Wilson and was relieved to see an Armstrong effort deflect behind. A reminder, if Hull win, they will stay up. Victory for Derby, and survival is in their hands on the final day because of the goal difference. Hull 0, Derby 0.
As things stand this evening, Cardiff bottom of the table and will be down. Molly Stevens.
Well, the Cardiff City Stadium erupted on the stroke of half-time mark. Cardiff thought they had the opener through Callum Chambers, but it was ruled out for offside. That after countless chances for West Brom. Isaac Price, a standout. His shot off the post, the visitors' best chance for an opener. Ethan Horvath, the Cardiff keeper, is a large part as to why the hosts are not a goal down. Some pivotal saves from him. And as you say, if things stay the way they are now, Cardiff will be playing League One football next season, the first time since 2003. Cardiff 0, West Brom 0.
Mathematically, Plymouth are still giving themselves a chance. I mean, they'd need a massive goal difference swing as well, but they're still in it, Julia Bold, and the home side are in big trouble here.
Yes, they are. Preston 0, Plymouth 1. So the ball came in from the left-hand side into the box, and it's Mustafa Bundu, centre of goal, to smash it into the back of the net. Katic almost doubled Plymouth's lead as well. The keeper dropped the ball. Ryan Hardy couldn't get his follow-up shot away, though. Gibson and Thordarsen at the other end have almost equalised for Preston, but the home side are getting dragged into this with every minute that's passing. So Plymouth right now are off the bottom of the table on 46 points. Preston are on 49 points. Half-time, Preston 0, Plymouth 1.
Yeah, I'll give you the bottom 7 or so in just a moment, but Oxford, as things stand, safe. Mike Williams.
Yes, they are 45 minutes away from potentially confirming their place in the Championship next season, Mark, and they have on loan Leicester defender Ben Nelson to thank for this half-time lead over Sunderland. He's 6'5" and he made every inch count as he rose highest to divert a powerful header from a free kick into the back of the Sunderland net. That his first goal for the club, and how vital it might go on to prove. As for Sunderland, well, they've got not much to play for, I guess. They're already guaranteed a home playoff semi-final, but if they do go on to lose here, well, they really will be limping into the postseason. It'll be a 4th straight defeat. Half-time at the Kassam. Oxford 1, Sunderland 0.
So, the bottom of the Championship, as things stand, Oxford 52, Stoke 50, Hull 49, Preston 49, Luton 49, Derby 47, Plymouth 46 and Cardiff 44. At the other end of the table, Coventry beaten by Luton earlier, which means the final playoff spot, the final 2 playoff spots, very much still up for grabs. But as things stand, Middlesbrough not taking advantage of that Cardiff defeat. Shojo Saka.
Middlesbrough 0, Norwich 0. Jittery home crowd here with Borough struggling to find a goal. Norwich keeper Angus Gunn has saved well 3 times. Middlesbrough's Finn Azaz has had a shot blocked. Norwich have looked pretty dangerous at the other end, especially through Jack Stacey down the right. But with Millwall winning at the moment, if Borough don't win today, their playoff prospects will no longer be in their own hands when they go to Coventry on the last day, on the next week on the final day. Half-time, Middlesbrough 0, Norwich 0.
No, Millwall doing all they can. They go to Burnley on the final weekend of the season. This afternoon, they're leading Swansea. Betty Glover.
Yeah, Millwall 1, Swansea 0. Millwall's hopes of playoff hopes are alive and kicking, chappers, thanks to George Saville. Not long before the whistle, it came from a messy set piece, which eventually fell to the midfielder. They had been knocking at the door, though, and moments after that goal, Femi Aziz hit the post. It has been a very entertaining first half. Alex Neil has been looking very nervous on the touchline, though. They know a win today puts them them level on points with Coventry, who are 6th, going into that last game of the season, which, like you said, will be against Burnley. It's Millwall 1, Swansea 0.
So as things stand, Bristol City 67. They don't play till Monday night at Leeds, don't Liam Manning's side. Then Coventry with 66 and Millwall with 66 and Middlesbrough with 64. Middlesbrough go to Coventry next weekend on the final day of the season. Earlier in League One, Bristol Rovers 0, Reading 2, Leyton Orient 1, Wickham 0. So as resolves the fight for the final playoff spot, Leyton Orient and Reading both have 75. Leyton Orient's goal difference is 8 better. The defeat for Bristol Rovers leaves them mired in relegation trouble. Two of the other sides looking at going down. Burton and Cambridge are meeting this afternoon at the Pirelli Nikesh Ragani.
It's Burton 0, Cambridge 0 at the break. 2 sendings off in first half stoppage time saw both sides down to 10 men. First, Ryan Loft, who was on as a substitute, was shown red for Cambridge for violent conduct. Then a minute later, Burton's JJ McKiernan was given red for a foul. It's been a scrappy, intense, proper relegation fight. And as things stand, Cambridge are going down. Burton, with a game in hand, have a slight cushion. At the break, it's Burton 0, Cambridge 0.
Joe, there were a couple of championship games that I didn't give you the score for, so apologies. Blackburn 0, Watford 0 at half-time, and Sheffield Wednesday 1, Portsmouth 1. Elsewhere in League One, Barnsley 0, Shrewsbury 1, Crawley 1, Northampton 0, gives them a lifeline, Crawley, that lead at the break. Exeter 1, Huddersfield 1, Peterborough 1, Bolton 1, Stockport 0, Lincoln 2, Wigan 1, Blackpool 0. The big game, Wrexham against Charlton, is at 5:30. As far as it stands at the bottom, Cambridge going down on 39, Bristol Rovers have 43, Crawley 43 and Burton have 44, but Burton have a game in hand on those below them. After today, they would still have 2 to play. Everybody else would have 1 to play. Earlier, AFC Wimbledon 0, Port Vale 2 in League 2, Doncaster 2, Bradford City 1. That puts Doncaster up and Port Vale up. It leaves Bradford vulnerable to Walsall in the race for the automatic promotion spot. Walsall this afternoon at home to Accrington Stanley, and they trail at half-time to Walsall by 1-0. So it would leave, going into the final game of the season, Bradford on 75 and Walsall on 74. Elsewhere in League 2, Harrogate were beaten at home by Notts County by 3-1. Barrow lead Bromley by 1-0. Cheltenham lead Carlisle 2-1, so Cheltenham are going down this afternoon. Chesterfield 1, Morecambe 0, Fleetwood 0, Newport 0, Gillingham 0, Swindon 0, MK Dons 0, Grimsby 0, Salford 3, Colchester 0. It's a big result in the race for the playoffs, that, or big half-time score in the race for the playoffs. Tranmere 1, Crewe 0, and as I say, Walsall 0, Accrington 1. What it means in the race for the playoffs is that Notts County have 72, AFC Wimbledon have 70, Salford 68, Grimsby 68, Chesterfield 67, and Colchester's playoff chances are done if they lose at Salford. They would have 66. Carlisle's relegation confirmed this afternoon if things stay as they are, because they will be 7 points adrift of Tranmere with 1 game left to play. In the National League, Woking 2, Eastleigh 2, Barnet 2, Aldershot 0, Boston 2, Gateshead 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 4, Altrincham 0. That helps Dagenham and Redbridge's relegation chances of them staying up. It ruins Altringham's playoff chances. Ebbsfleet 0, Maidenhead 0, Halifax 0, Braintree 0, Forest Green Rovers 1, Oldham 0, Rochdale 3, Hartlepool 1, Tamworth 2, AFC Fylde 3, Yeovil 1, Sutton 0, and York 1, Solihull Moors 0. But the story there is that Barnet will be promoted to the Football League. We talked about the title race in National League North and National League South. Final day of the North and South seasons. At the moment, Kidderminster are losing at Southport in the North, and Brackley are beating Farsley 4-0 at the break, and Farsley are down to 10. They're bottom of the table. As things stand, Brackley going up as champions. Kidderminster would be in the playoffs. We mentioned that the title in the South was between 6 teams at the start of the day. That's kind of been snuffed out because the team with the best goal difference, who lead the division, Truro City, are 4-1 up at home to St Albans at half-time. So they will be going up to the National League. automatically. In the Premiership, earlier, Celtic won the title. They beat Dundee United 5-0. Also in the top half, goalless between Aberdeen and Hibs. It's St Mirren 1, Rangers 1. In the bottom half, Hearts 0, Dundee 1. Kilmarnock 1, Ross County 0. And Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1. In the Scottish League Championship, Ayr 1, Queen's Park 2, Dunfermline 0, Airdrieonians 0, Hamilton 0, Livingston 2. Livingston will go level on points with Falkirk at the top of the table with one game left to play, and it's Wraith 1, Moreton 1. In League 1, Alloa 0, Montrose 1, Cove Rangers 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Dumbarton 1, Annan 0, Inverness 2, Arbroath 0, Queen of the South 0, Stenhouse Muir 0. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Spartans 0, Edinburgh City 0, Forfar 0, Elgin 2, Stranraer 0, Peterhead lead East Fife by a goal to 0. They will be promoted today if that stays as is, and Stirling 0, Clyde 2. You're up to date with all the football. In the Gallagher Premiership at half-time, Bath 17, Newcastle 12, Leicester 12, Harlequins 7, and at the snooker, Jamie Broughton?
Ronnie O'Sullivan's made a fast start against China's Pang Junxu. The 7-time champion has taken the opening 4 frames with breaks of 58, 91, 50 and 63. Meanwhile, on the other table, the 3-time winner Mark Williams is now 10-8 up against Hossein Vafai. 13 is the target for a place in the quarter-finals.
In Super League this afternoon, Huddersfield 6, Castleford 18 as they go into the second half there. And right at the start of the second half as well, Oxford have doubled their lead at home to Sunderland. Oxford 2, Sunderland 0. It looks like they will be safe from relegation. Oxford, Stockport County have pulled one back at home to Lincoln in League 1. Stockport 1, Lincoln 2. 4:05, here's Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Pope Francis has been laid to rest at his favourite church in Rome, Santa Maria Maggiore, after an open-air funeral service in St Peter's Square earlier. Officials say 400,000 people lined the streets to see his coffin being taken there from the Vatican. President Trump has criticised recent Russian attacks on Ukraine, suggesting that perhaps Vladimir Putin doesn't want the war to stop. Mr Trump held a meeting with President Zelensky at the Pope's funeral. The Kremlin insists Mr Putin's ready to hold peace talks without any preconditions. Iranian state media says there's been a massive explosion at a port in the southern city of Bandar Abbas. At least 4 people have died and more than 400 are reported to be injured. And campaigners for survivors of sexual abuse have described Virginia Giuffre as a champion of victims after she took her own life at her home in Western Australia. Ms Giuffre said she'd been trafficked to Prince Andrew when she was 17. He's always strongly denied the claim.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Early goal in the Premier League come up. Brighton, which way? Sahel Sahi.
West Ham's away mark. It's Brighton 1, West Ham 1. Mohamed Kudus with the equaliser. Wan-Bissaka found Bowen. He danced to the dead ball line, pulled it back for Kudus, who slotted it home 6 yards away, left-footed. Brighton 1, West Ham 1.
I don't want to get on the wrong side of Would I Lie to You's Lee Mack. He's just sent me a message to point out that if Blackburn score in their game at home to Watford and win, they are very much in the playoff mix as well. It's the final bit of detail. Everything covered. Back to you, Ian.
Thank you. You just hear that noise there, Paul?
What's that? The Blackburn? It could be a Paul Robinson treble. Leeds, Blackburn and Burnley all to go up this year.
I was thinking more of the name drop that Lee Mack had just text Mark. I heard a clatter from somewhere. We're back underway. Newcastle lead Ipswich by a goal to 0. More than the 1% club, though. Listen to BBC Radio 5 Live on a Saturday afternoon, I think you'll find. As Palmer with the clearance downfield. O'Shea, Greaves, Wolfenden and Burgess. Morsey, Taylor, Godfrey, Enciso and Delap. They're down to 10 men after the first half sending off of Johnson. Newcastle United leading with that penalty in stoppage time converted by Isak. Have Pope in goal, Trippier, Cher, Byrne, Livramento, Willock, Guimaraes, Tonali, Murphy, Isak and Barnes. Newcastle United, black and white striped shirts, black shorts, playing from left to right. They're attacking the Gallagate end away towards our right-hand side, with Ipswich in their royal blue shirts with a white pinstripe and the white shorts. Second half commentary here at St James's Park. Newcastle leading by a goal to 0 early in this second period, and Ipswich Town facing relegation. Here is Isak, right-hand side. Isak, right corner of the box, tees up Trippier. Doesn't deliver the cross first time, waits, passes the ball back to Isak, almost as if they're toying with Ipswich. Here is Guimaraes now wriggles away from one challenge of Jack Taylor. Trippier now does deliver the cross, headed away by Burgess at the back, and Ciso can't get there and hit first time off the toe of the right boot of Tonali, and it's over the top, goal kick.
Already 2 minutes into this second half, you can see it's going to be a very long afternoon for Ipswich Town. Down to 10 men. They've come out again in the second half. They're playing with 5 at the back. Ben Godfrey, the substitutes, come on. He'll play on the right hand side, but they're sticking with the 5 at the back. Out of possession, very submissive, sitting very, very deep. Immediately Newcastle get the ball. They're sat on the edge of their own box, trying to put those 2 lines of blue shirts and saying to Newcastle, break us down. They're not really offering anything going forward. It's going to be up to Leon Delap, and then Ciso is going to be the one that's charged with having to join him, and if they're going to get any type of attacking threat.
Here is Barnes, links up with Livramento in field, midway through the Ipswich half. Barnes has continued his run, and Barnes with a right-footed shot just couldn't keep it down. Matter of centimetres over the top of the crossbar. Goal kick, Newcastle still 1-0.
Brilliant 1-2, Barnes and Livramento that time. Harvey Barnes gets a sight of goal, 25 yards, out, hits it, too central, goes over the crossbar, doesn't trouble Alex Palmer. But the tone of the game's already set. Newcastle dominating possession early in this second half, and you can imagine we're sat here dead on the centre line. All our eyes have been fixed to the right hand side since the turn of half time, and I think that's it, the way it's going to be. It's going to be a defence versus attack, and Ipswich offering going forward. They're looking for set plays, long balls over the top, and they are going to have to play on the counter attack.
So the issues as it currently stands: Ipswich will be relegated from the Premier League, Cardiff will be relegated from the Championship, not necessarily Plymouth, who still lead at Preston by 1-0. We're looking at Cambridge being relegated as it currently stands from League One, and Carlisle United relegated from League Two as it currently stands. Wrexham at 5:30, if they were to beat Charlton Athletic, would be automatically promoted. Phil Parkinson's side behind Birmingham City after earlier Wycombe lost in League One away at Leyton Orient, who still hold on to that final playoff position, level on points with Reading, who earlier beat Bristol Rovers. Murphy with a cross from the right hand side, right down the throat there of Alex Palmer, as they are underway in the Gold Cup handicap chase at Sandown. John Hunt.
Yeah, long way to go. Fence number 2 taken now in front of the stands. Ian and Clark Kent together with Monbeg Genius amongst the early pacemakers. Spanish Harlem right there as well. Just with regard to the Trainers' Championship, Willie Mullins with 10 runners in the race. Dan Skelton only 1. Skelton trails by 120 grand. So his sole runner, Ho Jolie Smoke, who's 4th last at the moment, has to win to give Skelton any chance.
We'll check back in with you in a short while, John. There's no sports report tonight because of the first of the FA Cup semi-finals live from Wembley. It's a 5:15 kickoff. Dion Dublin and John Murray will provide commentary of that. Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. It's also live on BBC One. Barrow lead Bromley by 2-1 in League Two. Incidentally, tomorrow's second semi-final, Nottingham Forest against Manchester City, 4:30 commentary on Sports Extra, because we have exclusive commentary of Liverpool against Tottenham, where Arne Slot's side will hope to wrap up the Premier League title against your former club, Paul.
Yeah, I do worry for them tomorrow. I think you made the point to me before the game, didn't you, about what if Tottenham played a weakened team because of the Europa League tie that they've got coming up, and I said show me a strong one at the moment, and I think that's where they are, isn't it?
Well, talking of that next week, Spurs are at home to Bodo Glimt. Chelsea play Djurgardens also in Europe. Thursday night we'll be in Spain, Athletic Bilbao against Manchester United. But 48 hours before that, Arsenal against Paris Saint-Germain. Champions League semi-final commentary from North London on BBC Radio 5 Live. We'll be back at Sandown in a short while, but 6 minutes into the second half, Newcastle still lead Ipswich by 1-0. Barnet still on course for promotion to the Football League. There's been another goal. Mark Webber.
The champagne's well and truly off ice, because it's Barnet 3, Aldershot 0. A goal by Callum Stead after Mark Shefford's initial shot hit the rebound. Barnet 3, Aldershot 0.
And Rangers are back in front at St Mirren. St Mirren 1, Rangers 2 is the latest score. Now, this could be important. Down at the bottom of League One, there's been a goal between Burton and Cambridge. Nikesh Rugani.
Massive goal for Burton in their bid for survival. Jon Daddy Bodvarsson with it. It was a brilliant left-footed finish. Touched it down on his chest after a cross from the left into the 6-yard box and banged it in on the half volley. It's Burton 1, Cambridge 0.
and because of Burton's superior goal difference, that effectively relegates Bristol Rovers. Here is Guimaraes into the penalty area, sends over across towards the far post. The reason I say that is that Bristol Rovers minus 29 and Burton will be minus 15. So you're looking for a 14-goal swing.
I could hear your brain ticking then, Deno. That split-second pause that you had, the calculator was going, wasn't it?
It's tested a lot on a Saturday afternoon, I can tell you. Anyway,
nearly as good as those Europa League tables that we've been having all season, isn't it? Up and down, different permutations. But it's a fantastic time of the season, isn't it?
Well, Cambridge will also be relegated, that is for sure. There'll be no effectively relegated. Cambridge will be going down. They had to win to stand any chance. Crawley, well, they're doing themselves the world of good because they're leading Northampton by a 1-0. We're going to go racing. John Hunt at Sandown.
Halfway stage of this Bet365 Gold Cup, and 2 of Willie Mullins' 10 runners out of the race. Dancing City fell early on. Olympic Man's been pulled up. Monbeg Genius still leads, and Dan Skelton's sole runner, Ho Jolie Smoke, still in the middle of the pack with a chance.
Thank you, John. Back to you for the finish of that. Here in Newcastle, attacking, leading by a 0-0. Murphy right-hand side of the area. First cross blocked, struck the back of the dark-haired figure of Greaves. Falls to Murphy, tries to roll it into the path of Barnes, who gets the shot away. Might break towards Livramento, takes it on into the penalty area, delivers the cross deep. Cher brings it down very well with his right foot, has some support from Trippier behind him, right hand side of the area at a walking pace, walks into the penalty box, finds Murphy with a back heel, and Morsey shall get it away for Ipswich Town, but Byrne comes across and slides there before Dillap, and it'll be, well, the assistant referee, rather than actually making the call, is looking towards the referee. Do your job.
It was a standoff between the two of them. The referee didn't have a clue which way the throw-in was. The assistant down here on the near side didn't have a clue which way the throw-in was. He was reluctant to put his flag up, but in the end the referee just took a guess and gave it to Ipswich.
Here is Enciso. Ipswich still trailing, down to 10 men. It'll be the first time in Premier League history that all 3 relegations have been confirmed with 4 games to go. Let's get the team news from Wembley, that first FA Cup semi-final. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, John Murray.
And the headline here is, there is no Marcus Rashford for Aston Villa. Not involved at all. We've just been told, quote, it's believed he has a knock. So both make 3 changes from midweek for Villa. Watkins, McGinn and Asensio are all in to start. Ramsey and Onana are substitutes, and as I say, no Rashford. And Palace, as expected, Mateta, Sarr and Richards all back in the team. And Nketiah, Devaney and Lerma are the 3 to make way, and they are all substitutes.
Thank you, John. Dion Dublin alongside John. Commentary at 5:15 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Newcastle still lead by a 0-0. Here is Barnes. Isak wants it early, gets it into his feet. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Isak took a deflection. It'll loop behind for a corner kick. Goal at Barnet, Mark Webber.
3 tube stops up from Wembley. Barnet have gone 4-0 up now. Callum Stead with his second on the rebound, making it Barnet 4, Aldershot 0.
Exeter City lead Huddersfield Town by 2-1 in League One. There are no other goals to tell you about elsewhere, as in comes a quick corner kick, and Dan Byrne gets on the end of it, and Newcastle United increase their lead from close range. Dan Byrne's first Premier League goal of the season. They lead Ipswich Town, who'll be relegated by 2-0 as we go racing. And John Hunt.
Just over the third last here in the Bet365 Gold Cup. Still it is Monbeg Genius, a rank outsider out in front, chased by Spanish Harlem. Lombron making ground on the outside, and the favourite High Class Hero just in behind them, taking the second last fence there. A close fifth, Resplendent Grey, he's still got a chance as well. Victorino and Grangeclair West, they're the next ones, heading down towards the final fence, and it's Lombron who's taken the lead with a great jump at the last. He's chased up the hill by Resplendent Grey. It's between these two. High Class Hero back in third place. Lombron is all out. Resplendent Grey is coming with a great challenge though, and gets up to win Jump Racing's final big race of the season. Resplendent Grey's beaten Lombron. High Class Hero back in third place. Then in fourth came Spanish Harlem. So Resplendent Grey's the winner, trained by Ollie Murphy. Caps a great season for the new champion jockey Sean Bowen, but with a second, third and fourth, Willie Mullins is confirmed as the champion trainer.
Thank you, John. 2 goals to Newcastle United and another second goal of the afternoon at Molineux. Pat Murphy.
Again to Wolverhampton Wanderers, scored by Larson, the big centre forward, and again Cunha. Lovely play by Cunha down the left wing. A bisecting pass, nightmare for defenders. Side foot from Larson. Wolves 2, Leicester 0.
Paul, because of the racing, because of that goal at Molineux, I mean, Dan Burn, it was on a plate from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all too easy for Newcastle at the moment. It was a really well-worked short corner down here on this near side. Newcastle are controlling the game, they're controlling the tempo, almost at walking pace at times. They're toying with Ipswich. Short corner was really well worked into Kieran Trippier, flighted it over Alex Palmer's head, the goalkeeper, went all the way across the crossbar, dropped under the crossbar, and there was almost a ruck underneath the crossbar. Dan Burn came from deep, biggest, stronger, got over the top of everybody, won the header, put Newcastle 2-0 up, and they've scored 4 in the last 2 games here at St James's Park, and you wouldn't put it past them doing it again today.
No, you certainly wouldn't. Blackburn Rovers have equalised at home to Watford, 1-1 at Ewood Park. Here is Barnes coming forward, Murphy ahead of him, and then they leave it for Palmer to pick that ball up. And Gillingham at Priestfield are leading Swindon Town by a goal to nil in League Two. I mean, that's the thing is now, this is an Ipswich Town side that have conceded at least 4 goals in a game on 9 occasions this season. Down to 10 men, they've got to be careful they don't fold completely.
Yeah, they could well do. I mean, there's a long way in this game left, and since the half-time, Newcastle have been extremely dominant with possession. They've controlled the game. I mean, Ipswich, yes, they're down to 10 men. They're struggling. They've got a back 5 sat there we spoke about all game. Liam Delap's working extremely hard, but he's not getting any kind of joy whatsoever. Struggling really to string 1 or 2 passes together. Newcastle in the ascendancy, and it really is going to be a case of how many do they want to score. I don't think it'll be long before we see Eddie Howe shuffle his pack. He's got a few big games coming up, like you say, at Brighton, Chelsea, against Arsenal. He's got an opportunity now, maybe with another goal, he can make those changes earlier on in the game than he wanted to.
That Blackburn equaliser, they've got to win to stand any chance of gate crashing the playoffs, because Coventry play Middlesbrough on the last day of the season, so that draw would not be good enough for them as it currently stands. Down at the bottom of the Championship, what a game this is. Hull Derby, Will Perry.
Hull 0, Derby 0. Hull's Poeta with an effort from distance fizzed wide of Vickers' right-hand post. Camera's penalty shout waved away after a tackle from Forsyth, and at the other end, Wilson's cross-come shot dealt with by Pando. As it stands, Hull 2 points above the relegation zone. Derby 2 from safety. Hull 0, Derby 0.
Cardiff looking at being relegated today, but Plymouth still leading at Preston, giving themselves a chance of survival. They're on 46 as it stands. Derby 47, Luton 49, Preston 49, Hull 49. Very, very tight, and Preston badly out of form. 6 without a win before today. They needed a win to be safe for Paul Heckingbottom's side. Ipswich Town trailing now by 2 goals to nil. We've been playing for an hour. Chesterfield 1, Morecambe 1 is the latest score in League Two, as Livramento just strokes the ball back. And Newcastle United, well, that 6-match winning run came to a crashing end last week at Villa Park, but looking for a 5th straight win here at St James's Park, Paul.
And it's all very easy for them. Recycling the ball, keeping possession. Ipswich, it's about damage limitation now. Newcastle looking strong, enjoying themselves.
Murphy with a cross from the right. It'll reach Barnes, left-hand side. Might want to beef up the goal difference as the cross comes in, headed away by Cameron Burgess at the heart of that Ipswich Town defence. Because coming into it, Newcastle were plus 18 as Tonali's flat ball volleyed back across by Murphy, comes off the head of Guimaraes, downward header by Livramento. It's one-way traffic at the moment now. Ipswich just can't get out, and this is Livramento back towards Tonali. Manchester City were plus 23, Forest were plus 14, and Chelsea plus 19, so it could well be a factor. Newcastle United, who put 5 past Crystal Palace, and indeed they've scored 15 goals in those last 4 home games before today.
Good time to be a Newcastle fan, isn't it? I think after that Carabao Cup final success, you know, it looked like business. We spoke about that before. You know, they're looking at the Champions League places. After that Carabao Cup win against Liverpool, 4 straight wins, only conceding 2 goals. The blip recently against Aston Villa certainly put that behind them today. They're looking well on track. Got some difficult fixtures coming up, but play like they do today, it's in their own hands.
Livramento works the corner short. Trippier to Tonali outside the area. He goes square. Murphy shapes to shoot. Oh, and he almost found the back of the net with a right-footed effort. It went wide. going to be a yellow card going to be shown here to Jason Tindall, I think, for speaking out of turn to the fourth official. So the assistant manager has been booked. Another goal in that vital game down in League One. Crawley, Northampton, Charlotte Richardson.
Crawley 2, Northampton 0. Crawley doing all they can to stay in League One. They've been brave and bold on the ball. A lovely attacking move finished by Jeremy Kelly. Crawley keeping the pressure on Burton to try and nudge themselves out of the bottom four. Crawley 2, Northampton 0.
He looks a little perplexed, doesn't he, Mr. Tindall?
He's gone to have another word with the fourth official. The fourth official just grassed him up to the referee, hasn't he? And he's fuming, Tindall. He's gone across to have a word. He's put his arm on his shoulder. Fourth official's looked at him and says, "Don't touch me. You've already been booked. I'll tell on you again."
Just looking at with Burton leading Cambridge by a goal to nil, that superior goal difference that I talked about, and Burton still have another game to play in midweek. It's highly unlikely that Burton would go down. So even though Crawley are leading 2-0 against Northampton, it would appear to be a stay of execution unless Burton were to suffer two heavy defeats and Crawley were to get a significant victory, because at the minute you're talking of about a 13-goal swing in favour of Crawley. However, stranger things have happened, and Jacob Greaves has just been shown a yellow card by the referee Michael Salisbury. Let's get an update from Burton, Cambridge. Cambridge will be relegated. Nikesh Ragani.
Yep, it's still Burton 1, Cambridge 0, but since that goal from Yondadi Badvasan, it's been all Burton. You talk about a 13-goal swing. It could be more the way Burton are going at the moment. Still plenty of time left in this one. It's Burton 1, Cambridge 0.
Here is Willock for Newcastle, who lead 2-0 to Trippier. Bruno Guimaraes, right corner of the area. Chesterfield 2, Morecambe 1, Barnsley 0, Shrewsbury 2 are latest scores. Willock fires the shot. Keeper's only got one hand to it. And Wolfenden tries to get the ball away, but then it's been robbed of the ball inside the penalty area. This is Willock, scoops it forward. Wolfenden reacts again to head it away, only as far as Trippier. He leaves it for Isak. They're camped in and around the Ipswich penalty area. Guimaraes, good footwork. And Wolfenden with a clearance manages to clatter the ball away. Let's get an update from Cardiff. Remember, they have to win. Molly Stevens.
A crazy few minutes for Cardiff City. Alex Robertson has a shot which comes off the keeper's foot. It comes back to Yusuf Salek for a shot which hits the woodwork, and then Callum Chambers flies through the air to shoot just wide. Aaron Ramsey in the dugout laughs in disbelief, but the fans are fired up now. 0-0.
They have to win, otherwise they'll be relegated. Plymouth are leading at Deepdale. They could yet survive. They'll certainly take it to the final game. Here is Murphy. Trippier in close proximity, attacking the Gallowgate end from left to right on this near side to right. There's good activity on the bench. Here is Guimaraes with a cross towards the far post. Burns header. Willock headed off the line by Godfrey and then headed behind by Burgess.
That's an opportunity for Dan Burn. He's been very, very unselfish. The assistant on the near side just flagged him offside. Ball in again by Kieran Trippier. Dan Burn, he's got an opportunity to get a header on target. He unselfishly tries to head it back across the goal to Jacob Murphy. Just too high for him, can't get a good contact on it. Goes over the bar, given offside, gives us a chance to have a break. The goalkeeper, Alex Palmer for Ipswich, has gone down, and there's going to be some substitutions made.
Swindon Town have equalised at Priestfield in League 2. Gillingham 1, Swindon 1. Let's get the latest then from, I would imagine, a rather nervy Deepdale. Julia Bold.
It's very nervy. It's Preston 0, Plymouth 1, and Plymouth are struggling to even get out of their own half right now. Robbie Brady should have equalised for Preston. Both sides are going to be in it in the final week. Preston 0, Plymouth 1.
Anthony Gordon is going to be coming on, and Lewis Miley as well. So a double change being made by Eddie Howe. Salford City 4, Colchester United 1. So Colchester have got, well, will it be a consolation, or could it spark a dramatic fight back in League 2 for their flagging playoff hopes? And let's see who's going to come off here for Newcastle United. Tonali, and is it going to be Sandra Tonali's going to be one of them? We'll wait for the fourth official. He's just grappling with the electronic board. It's going to be Harvey Barnes. So Gordon will replace Harvey Barnes, and then we'll wait to see who Lewis Miley comes on for as well. In fact, it's going to be Joe Willock. Joe Willock is the player who's going to be coming off. It was his first start since the end of February here today. Newcastle leading 2-0. Ipswich offering no threat whatsoever. Hardly helped with that sending off, of course, of Ben Johnson in the first half. In League 2, Carlisle United are being relegated. Sam Ashew.
Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 1 in. You can't say they're not fighting, Carlisle. They've given it a good go this afternoon, but if my maths is right, we need a 6-goal swing between Accrington, Tranmere, and here you just can't see it, can you? Don't be surprised if they get something out of the game. It just won't be enough to keep them in the Football League. Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 1.
So Murphy has come off. The referee's assistant has made a right Horlicks of that. So it wasn't Barnes who was coming off. Gordon has replaced Murphy. He's got number 11 mixed up with 23. Midway through the second half. Crewe are down to 10 men in League Two as they are trailing at Tranmere. And that is, I mean, obviously Carlisle are losing at Cheltenham, but even before that was happening, Tranmere's goal at Prenton Park against Crewe was good enough to keep Tranmere Rovers safe in League Two, and Crewe are down to 10 men will hardly help their cause for a dramatic turnaround there in League Two.
That's a swamp, that League Two, isn't it? Nobody's wanted to get out of that. I mean, the promotion race in League Two has been incredible. Bradford City have had so many opportunities and passed away so many chances. They've had a great season. No, they've been led twice by 2 goals. Had a penalty today at Doncaster, missed. And for Bradford, a massive club like them in League Two, you would think this is their opportunity to get out there. Massive game for them next week at home to Fleetwood, I think it is. It is, but still a reprieve, bearing in mind Walsall are not able to take advantage of Bradford City's defeat and are still losing at home by 1-0. Walsall's terrible form in the second half of the season. Trippier with a cross. Newcastle still lead by 2-0. Vital game, of course, as far as the top 5 is concerned in the Premier League. We're midway through the second half. In about 7 minutes' time or so, we'll run through all the various divisions. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest goals. There's Gordon. Newcastle, though, this is just... your neck will be aching. Just constantly looking towards our right. Here is Barnes, tries to play a ball in. Appeals for handball against Greaves, cleared away. This is a long afternoon for Ipswich Town. And there's going to be a VAR check now. That was Harvey Barnes. I mean, he flicked it up, tried to get it across, hit Jacob Greaves on the arm. Just depends where the arm was in relation to his body, whether it was out of his shape. It was certainly hit his hand, and he kind of moved it towards the ball. It would be unfortunate if it was given from an Ipswich Town point of view. He actually handled it twice in the initial one. When Harvey Barnes turned it round the corner, handballs it once, and Harvey Barnes turns, tries to cross it into the box, catches the bottom of his hand again. They'll be checking 2. It'll be very unfortunate, Jacob Greaves, if it is given. But as you say, Newcastle in complete control here.
Lee Max had a mention today. I noticed that Lee Evans has just scored for Blackpool. Wigan 1, Blackpool 1 is the latest score in League One, and Kilmarnock are leading Ross County by 2-0. The VAR check is still taking place. There's a goal at Southampton. Chris Coles.
It's an equaliser for Fulham. Southampton 1, Fulham 1. Emil Smith-Rowe off the bench to score. Well found in the box. Great first touch. His finish took a big deflection off Bednarek that looped it over Aaron Ramsdale. Southampton 1, Fulham 1.
Hurst and Chaplin are going to be coming on for Ipswich Town. That handball, after VAR had a look at it, was dismissed. So play is continuing, and still 2-0 to the home side. Trippier. Very difficult, though, when you're down to 10 men, isn't it, for Ipswich to try and even lay a glove on Newcastle, Paul?
It's been a long afternoon for them. I mean, you look at the possession stats for the home side, hugely in their favour. Every single stat is massively in Newcastle's favour. Ipswich with 10 men, they've defended resiliently, they've tried hard, they're putting in a real shift. Feel sorry for Liam Delap, he's run tirelessly. George Hurst is on the touchline below us waiting to come on. I won't be surprised if it's Liam Delap that comes on and gets a rest, because he has worked without any kind of service, forward thinking, really forward impetus from Ipswich this afternoon. It's been a long, tiring afternoon for them, and it's an unfortunate way that they are going to leave the Premier League.
Or as gallows humour from the travelling Ipswich support, they were chanting handball for every time that Newcastle United touched the ball there. And Ciso, who's on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion, he comes off for Connor Chaplin, who's made 2 substitute appearances in the last 3 after missing the previous 12, and Delap makes way for George Hurst. Penalty at Molineux. Pat Murphy.
To Leicester City, and this can be taken by Jamie Vardy, having been brought down by the keeper Jose Sarr, moving to his right. He tried to pull out of it, Sarr, but he brought him down. An undeniable penalty. Now, can Vardy make this 199 goals for Leicester City? Deep in concentration, he's been booed by the Wolves fans, and it's been saved by Sarr. Low to his right. It'd be wrong to say that's a popular turn of events here at Molineux, Ian. It's still Wolves 2, Leicester City 0, and Jamie Vardy's missed the penalty.
And you'll be able to see that tonight. Match of the day, BBC One at 10:30. Barrow 2, Bromley 2 is a latest score in League 2. Hurst coming on for Delap. Changes being made by Ipswich Town. 18 minutes remaining. Their away form, actually, they've actually doubled their points on their travels than they actually have at Portman Road. 7 points out of a possible 51 at Portman Road. 14 on their travels. 3 away wins, 5 draws, but they're heading for a 9th defeat as they trail here against Newcastle United. St Mirren have got an equaliser. St Mirren 2, Rangers 2 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. And then you just wonder about how it's going to shape up for that top 5, don't you, in the Champions League positions? Who will be the 2 to miss out?
It's going to be a great run in. I think obviously with the title looking like it's sewn up, and it has been done for a while for Liverpool, and with the bottom of the league already been decided for the first time ever with 4 games to go. Everyone's eyes are going to be on those Champions League places and the FA Cup semi-finals that we've got to come.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa at 5:15. John Murray and Dion Dublin, the big fight on 5 Live tonight. Coverage starts at 9:30. That second semi-final between Forest and Manchester City on Sports Extra tomorrow. We'll have live coverage from Anfield, Liverpool, Tottenham as part of 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Earlier, Bournemouth, Manchester United at 2. As there's been a goal at Cheltenham, Sam Ashu.
Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 2, Ian. It's an equaliser, but it feels a little bit like a consolation. It's a brilliant cross, and the number 9, Georgie Kelly, couldn't miss with a header from a few yards out. Results elsewhere mean that Carlisle are still heading to the National League. Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 2.
Yeah, even if they were to take a 3-2 lead at Cheltenham, Tranmere still lead the 10 men of Crewe by a 1-0, and that is the most significant scoreline of them all to relegate Carlisle United. 16 minutes remaining of normal time. Here is Barnes. Infield to Miley. Trippier tells the youngster to go infield, and he finds Guimaraes. Miley puts his foot on the ball. I think you summed it up quite well earlier in the second half, Paul, when you said damage limitation. And it's been very much damage limitation from Ipswich.
It is. They've very, very rarely, if ever, ventured into the Newcastle half. There's one stat that they came into this game that they didn't really want. They've had fewer than 5 shots in 5 different Premier League games this season, Ipswich. They've offered nothing going forward today, and they've only had 4 shots, so that could be fewer than 5 in 6 different Premier League games. 1 shot off target, no shots on target for them. Everything else has been high, wide, and not very handsome for Ipswich. It's been a struggle for them this afternoon, it really has, as has most of the season.
Stockport County 2, Lincoln City 2. Barnsley have got a goal back. Barnsley 1, Shrewsbury Town 2. And Walsall, in that game in League 2, are now down to 10 men as they trail at home to Accrington Stanley. Connor Barrett has been sent off with 12 minutes remaining. So that is good news for Bradford City as they look to cling on to that 3rd and final automatic promotion spot behind the promoted duo of Doncaster and Port Vale. And as I speak, there's been a goal at Deepdale in the Championship. Julia Bolt.
It's Preston 0, Plymouth 2. Callum Wright, the substitute, has poked the ball into the back of the net. It is giving them some hope. The Plymouth fans who've travelled 300 miles are going absolutely crazy. It's Preston 0, Plymouth 2.
Some hope until you then look at the, which I've just done, the goal difference is -36. And Luton, who are 3 points above them, are -22. But Cardiff, they have to win, and they're still drawing, so Cardiff will be relegated 0-0 in South Wales as Tonali cuts it back. So it'll look like it'll be a stay of execution for Plymouth with that win at Preston North End. Incidentally, Hull 0, Derby County 0 is still the scoreline, so Derby remain in the relegation zone. Let's get news of that sending off at Walsall with Steve Wyatt.
Yes, it looks increasingly like advantage Bradford City in the race for 3rd in League 2. Connor Barrett dismissed for a straight red card for his challenge on Liam Coyle. Accrington Stanley soaking up the pressure, creating goal-scoring chances themselves and staying in the Football League in style as it stands. Walsall 0, Stanley 1.
Double change being made here by Newcastle. Isak and Barnes off. Asula and Wilson are coming on. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, time for him to shuffle his pack now, Eddie Howe, with the games that they've got coming up. A massive game next, away at Brighton and at home to Chelsea in that race for the Champions League, like you say. the points that they can get now, Newcastle, it's certainly in their own hands. The form that they're in, apart from that slip that they had against Villa, you would put them as one of the favourites to grab one of those Champions League places. And now with this game, well, not won already, but they're very, very comfortable. You can't see anything other than a Newcastle victory.
No.
Ipswich haven't got out their own half, so he gets the chance to bring off Jacob Murphy, Isak, Harvey Barnes, Willock, and rotate his pack, which he hasn't done in recent weeks.
They've got such a firm stranglehold on this game. You could argue it happened when Johnson was sent off in the first half, even when it was 0-0. But Newcastle since have scored 2 goals.
It's a 2-0 hammering, isn't it? It really is a 2-0 hammering. Possession-wise, you look at all the stats, Newcastle have been so dominant.
Well, earlier today at Tannadice, Celtic wrapped up the title, beating Dundee United 5-0. A record equalling 55th top-flight title as Wilson sends over the cross, slip by Miley, prodded forward by Tonali. Trippier keeps it alive for Newcastle on the right-hand side. Asula now takes over, right corner of the area, passes the ball to Guimaraes, looks for the return ball. It was blocked. These are the latest scores: Aberdeen 0, Hibs 0, Hearts 0, Dundee 1, Kilmarnock 2, Ross County 0, Motherwell 3, bottom of the table St Johnstone 2, St Mirren 2, Rangers 2. Give you the latest scores in League 2, League 1 and the Championship in a moment. But Newcastle almost 80% possession. Surprised it's not even higher.
80% possession, 19 shots, only 3 of them on target. That's the surprising thing. Only 3 of the 19 on target. It really is. It's all one-way traffic. It just depends how many Newcastle want to score and if they're going to go through the gears and really put Ipswich to the sword.
Here is Tonali along the ground. Trippier hits it first time, blocked by Greaves. A tumbling Greaves behind for a corner kick. Incidentally, after the commentary coming up from Wembley, that FA Cup semi-final, you'll have 606 Chris Sutton tonight, being joined by Natalie Pike, 08085 909 693, and a goal at Brighton. Sahel Sahi.
West Ham have the lead. Brighton 1, West Ham 2. A whipped-in cross from Jared Bowen and a flying header from Thomas Soucek. Something you see from the 80s. It was wonderful. Brighton 1, West Ham 2.
Southampton 1, Fulham 1, Wolves 2, Leicester City 0. Jamie Vardy missing a penalty. The referee is making sure that there's going to be no nonsense. A little bit of pushing and shoving inside that penalty area. He's shown his authority with a blow of the whistle, a wave of the hand, as we wait for the corner kick to be taken for Trippier on this near side, the right footed, goes deep, and a header by William Asula, and the substitute with his first Premier League goal for Newcastle United, dropped past the outstretched arms of goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Newcastle consolidates a Champions League place in the top 5, where they eye Europe and Europe's elite competition. Ipswich are facing relegation to the Championship. 3-0.
Ipswich players surrounding the referee. They're looking for an infringement in the box as that corner kick came in. Such a simple worked corner. Nothing set play coach about that one. Kieran Trippier, straight outswinger to the edge of the 6-yard box. Asula times his run perfectly, gets a free header. And I think it's probably the reason that he got a free header is what's upset the Ipswich Town players. One Ipswich Town defender, Luke Wolfenden, sprawled out in the 18-yard box. Doesn't look to me like Asula's committed at any type of foul. We're just getting to see the replay again. It's a great leap by Asula. 10 yards out. He has to do a lot of work with that. Cracks his neck backwards. There's not a lot of pace on that ball behind him. It's a really strong header by Asula. Loops up and over Palmer, almost into the top corner. Excellent header.
Well, VAR will have a look. The goal stands. Newcastle United boost their goal difference. They lead Ipswich by 3-0. And in fact, it's his first ever goal in the Premier League, because I noticed that his 3 goals that he scored for Sheffield United were all in the FA Cup. So not only just his first Premier League goal for Newcastle, but his first of his career.
Was that almost his first touch as well, I think, since coming on? I don't remember his involvement being so much. It was certainly in his first 5 touches. Wonderful header. Excellent delivery by Kieran Trippier. He does well to get himself free in the box, Asula. And when it comes to him, he's still got a lot to do. He's got to put some power and direction on it. Gets a good header, loops up and over Alex Palmer. And it's no more than Newcastle deserve. If they walked away 4 or 5 today, you wouldn't be surprised.
Well, these were the results earlier in League 2. Wimbledon 0, Port Vale 2. Port Vale promoted. Doncaster stay top. They beat the 10 men of Bradford City by 2-1. They are also promoted, and Notts County look like they're going to cement a playoff position. They beat Harrogate Town by 3-1. But with Grimsby Town unable to catch them. Grimsby still drawing at MK Dons 0-0. These are the latest scores. Barrow 2, Bromley 2. Cheltenham 2, Carlisle United 2. Carlisle United will be relegated. Chesterfield 4, Morecambe 1. Fleetwood 2, Newport County 0. Gillingham 1, Swindon 1. MK Dons and Grimsby's goalless, as I've said. Salford 4, Colchester United 1. Salford move into a playoff position as a result. Tranmere 1, Crewe 0. Tranmere safe. Walsall down to 10 men 0. Accrington Stanley 1. Walsall unable to take advantage of Bradford's slip. Bradford will stay in an automatic promotion spot as it currently stands, going into the final game at home to Fleetwood next weekend. Tonali's sharp turn might run through towards Wilson, runs out of play for a goal kick. In League 1, the two results: Bristol Rovers 0, Reading 2, Leyton Orient 1, Wickham 0. So it's a case of as you were for the playoff positions. Leyton Orient 6th, Reading 7th. Wickham, though, their failure to beat Leyton Orient means that Wrexham can get promotion if they beat Charlton in the 5:30 game. These are the latest scores: Barnsley 0, Shrewsbury 1, Burton 0, Cambridge United 0. Cambridge will be relegated. Crawley 1, Northampton Town 0. They need a massive goal swing in their favour. Exeter 1, Huddersfield 1, Peterborough 1, Bolton 1, Stockport 0, Lincoln 2, Wigan 1, Blackpool 1. As Ben Botman comes back after a long time out, injured, to replace Cher, and we are going to Hull City and Will Perry.
This is a massive goal at the bottom of the Championship. Hull 0, Derby 1, and it's Nat Phillips on loan from Liverpool, the man who's headed past Ivor Panda. A brilliant free kick, out swinging from Forsyth, and there was Phillips with the header. What a goal for Derby. It will be in their hands if it stays like this on the final day because of the goal difference. Hull 0, Derby 1.
Well, that is a massive, massive goal. So Hull all of a sudden now drop in to the relegation zone as a result. Cardiff are being relegated in the Championship. Plymouth have got a stay of execution, but their goal difference is going to damage them in the end, I think. Minus 35. But Hull losing at home now drop into the relegation zone, separated by a point between them and Luton Town. I'll give you the latest scores in the Championship as Asula comes forward now, fires over the cross from the right. Cleared, only as far as Tonali. It's going to come back in again. It's backs to the wall, this, for Ipswich.
No, unfortunately for Ipswich this afternoon, losing that player in the first half with Ben Johnson getting sent off. They're going out with a whimper. They've had a go. Ipswich this season in the Premier League. They've put up the best fight of the three that are going down, but this afternoon for them it's all going to end a little bit sour on a quiet note. They're going with a whimper, unfortunately.
Chesterfield 4, Morecambe 1, Barrow 3, Bromley 2. Another goal at Crawley. Charlotte Richardson.
Crawley 3, Northampton 0. Substitute Kamari Doyle wraps up 3 big points. Crawley had to win today to have any chance of staying in the division. They've done all that's in their power. They need Burton now to drop some points. Crawley 3, Northampton 0.
They do. Burton still drawing 0-0 with Cambridge, but Burton do also have a game in midweek as well to their advantage. Newcastle looking for a 4th goal. Another goal in the Premier League. It's at Brighton. Sahel Sahi.
And it's an equaliser in the 89th minute. Brighton 2, West Ham 2. Well worked by Istupinian. Across from the left-hand side, headed back where it came from, and Mitoma was there, 6 yards away. Brighton 2, West Ham 2.
Goal at Molineux now, Pat Murphy.
Third for Wolves from the substitute Rodrigo Gomez. Superb breakaway goal, orchestrated again by Cunha. Delayed his path until it was in the stride of Gomez, right foot. Classic counter-attacking goal. Wolves 3, Leicester 0.
Luongo is coming on. He's going to replace Jack Taylor in the midfield for Ipswich. The results earlier: Luton 1, Coventry City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Burnley 5. Burnley 3 points clear of Leeds, who obviously have to play again. So the title can't be wrapped up. It'll go to the wire for the Championship title. Blackburn now lead Watford by 2-1, and Blackburn now do have a genuine playoff chance of catching maybe Coventry. Middlesbrough unable to take advantage, still being held by Norwich City, but Millwall are leading Swansea. So Blackburn 2, Watford 1. Cardiff are being relegated 0-0 at home to West Brom. Hull against Derby. Derby leading by a goal to 0 there. Middlesbrough 0, Norwich 0. Millwall 1, Swansea 0. Oxford United 2, Sunderland 0. Preston North End 0, Plymouth 2. A stay of execution for Plymouth. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Portsmouth 1. But as far as that Championship playoff positions are concerned, you could have Coventry holding on, Millwall. So Coventry in 6th on 66, Millwall 66 with their goal difference, a difference of 4, and Blackburn just a point behind. Gordon, meanwhile, attacks left-hand side, cut out by O'Shea, kept in play by Anthony Gordon. And they are the latest scores. Remember, in the Premier League, 2-2 between Brighton and West Ham, Newcastle 3-0 up against the 10 men of Ipswich, Southampton 1, Fulham 1, and Wolves, as we just heard from Pat, leading by 3-0 against Leicester City. There is no sports report tonight because of that next commentary coming up. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa at 5:15. Ball lifted in and volleyed over by Guimaraes. Ball just scooped into the penalty area by Trippier. Right-footed first-time volley over the top by Guimaraes. Paul Robinson.
Decent ball in by Trippier. Newcastle playing at will, enjoying themselves this afternoon. Newcastle, that time Trippier lifted over the Ipswich back 5. Bruno Guimaraes, you spotted early, watches it come over his right shoulder, tries to take it full on the volley, gets a great connection, but he only succeeds in putting it 10 rows back, high above the crossbar. Great connection by Bruno Guimaraes. But the Newcastle fans slowly leaving, certainly enjoyed themselves this afternoon.
Going into the final day of the Championship season, that final relegation berth, if you eventually are going to rule out Plymouth, you're going to have Hull, Luton, Preston, Derby and Stoke, all those clubs separated by just 2 points going into the final day of the season. Barrow 3, Bromley 3. Can Cardiff conjure up anything late on? Molly Stevens.
Just 3 minutes for them to do so, Ian. Cardiff are staring League One in the face. Unless they win here against West Brom and get the much needed goal in the next 3 minutes, they are down. Cardiff 0, West Brom 0.
It was Brighton 2, West Ham 2. There's been a late goal, Sahel Sahi.
And now it's Brighton 3, West Ham 2. Carlos Baliba with an absolute wonder strike from 25 yards away. It was superb, and Areola just stood there and watched it go past him. Brighton 3, West Ham 2.
On Sports Extra at the moment, it's winners take all in the Women's Six Nations. England against France, and there's been a try. James Burridge.
And the perfect start for England. Zoe Harrison with a delicious grubber kick through, and Abby Dow popping up on the right wing to touchdown in the corner. England 5, France 0.
Late goal at Brighton, another late goal on the South Coast, this time at Southampton. Chris Coles.
And it's come for Fulham, who have scored in the 93rd minute to surely win the game. Ryan Sessegnon has it. A stooping header from 7 yards out, beats Ramsdale's dive, and Southampton are not beating Derby's points record today. Southampton 1, Fulham 2.
There's been a late goal at Burton Albion, Nikesh Ragani.
And maybe just a lifeline for Cambridge, who have equalised. Elias Kachunga tapping in at the far post after a bit of ping-pong in the area, it has to be said. There's 6 minutes left in this one, and it's currently Burton 1, Cambridge 1.
This is Dan Burn for Newcastle United on defensive duties, and manages to get the ball away. We're going to find out how much added on time there will be, Paul.
Yeah, I'll look at that one for you. You've been a bit busy, haven't you? You've not missed much while you've been away. Anyway, it's a very routine operation, this, for Newcastle. They've been excellent in the second half, been extremely comfortable, dominated the whole game. Ipswich having one final flurry. It's probably the first time that Nick Pope's actually touched the ball in this second half as he comes out his box now. Claims across routinely, bowls it out to Anthony Gordon. Newcastle on the counter-attack.
Cambridge is still going to be relegated despite getting an equaliser. 5 minutes of added on time. Gordon comes forward now, edge of the area. Gordon shoots, scooped up in front of him by Alex Palmer, who's conceded 27 goals in 12 games since he arrived from West Brom in the January window.
Not always the goalkeeper's fault, you know, Dano. Sometimes the team that you play behind.
There's been a late goal at Preston. Julia Bold.
Yes, it is now Preston 1, Plymouth 2. Emil Rees with that very late goal. We've just been told there are 5 minutes added on time. It's Preston 1, Plymouth 2.
They had to win to be assured of safety, but anything, even a point, would be very, very precious. As we're going to go to Cardiff and Molly Stevens.
Cardiff City will play League One football for the first time in 22 years. It's a dark day. Wales's capital city club, who were in the Premier League just 6 years ago. The fans in front of me crestfallen. The players on the pitch on their knees. They narrowly avoided relegation in 3 previous campaigns. But this is the season they dropped down to the third tier. They needed a win. They had numerous chances here at the Cardiff City Stadium today, but it was not to be. Cardiff City 0, West Brom 0. Cardiff City are League One bound.
So Cardiff are relegated, and passing them maybe in the other direction could be Wrexham, because if they beat Charlton in the 5:30 kickoff, an unprecedented third consecutive promotion for Phil Parkinson's side, then talk about contrasting fortunes for the two Welsh clubs. So Cardiff are relegated. Preston have got a goal back. Oxford have beaten Sunderland by 2-0. So Oxford will be safe. Goal at Cheltenham, Sam Ashu.
Yeah, Cheltenham have got the winner, Ian. It's 3-2 to them against Carlisle. It's a goal that seals Carlisle's fate into the National League. The ball falls to George Miller, and he lashed home for his 11th of the season. Carlisle are heading to the National League. It's 3-2 to Cheltenham.
It's finished Middlesbrough 0, Norwich 0. Middlesbrough can still overtake Coventry City with a win, who they play on the final day next weekend. However, their destiny is out of their own hands, because they've got Millwall and Blackburn, who are both ahead of them, looking for that final playoff position in the Championship. So 0-0 at the Riverside. Newcastle United here, leading by 3-0. We're in 5 minutes of added on time. And Ipswich will be relegated. The second time that all three relegated sides have gone before May. The only other time was when Birmingham City, West Brom and Sunderland went in 2005/2006. It's been on the cards for such a long time. And despite, after the recent good work of Kieran McKenna, those successive promotions, of course, that they were able to gain from League One, like snakes and ladders, they're going back down this time.
Yeah, they've struggled, the three promoted teams, as we've seen. As we say, we spoke before the game even started. The Premier League's becoming more of a closed shop, and it just shows the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is getting bigger and tougher to break into. Newcastle, on the other hand, today, they've been excellent. It's been job well done for them. Went 1-0 up with a man sent off for Ipswich. They've been very, very comfortable. It's 3 points that you would have expected Newcastle to get today, but it's 3 massive points towards their push for the Champions League. But they've got some big weeks ahead of them before the end of the season.
You think as well, with Leicester and Southampton again losing today, the three of them have mustered only 4 home wins all season. They really need to have done better with their home form in particular. Just 10 wins in total between the three of them. Tranmere Rovers have beaten Crewe by 2-0. Carlisle losing. Carlisle will be relegated then from League Two, as an effort drops just wide from that left-hand side. Newcastle United almost close to a fourth through Anthony Gordon.
Does well, Anthony Gordon. Speculative effort, but why not at this stage of the game? Very, very comfortable for Newcastle. 3-0 up. Anthony Gordon cuts in off that left-hand touchline on his right foot. It looks like it's going towards the top left-hand corner of Alex Palmer's goal. Just drifts wide.
We're in the last 60 seconds of added on time. Southampton 1, Fulham 2, so still they can't lose that tag of potentially being the joint worst team in Premier League history. Southampton 1, Fulham 2, Brighton still lead West Ham 3-2. Wolves bound for a 6th successive win, leading 3-0 against relegated Leicester. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, commentary to come in that semi-final of the FA Cup at Wembley at 5:15, so don't go anywhere. We'll be whipping around the grounds to get all the full-time scores. And Newcastle United, as far as the Premier League is concerned, will be going back third. 5 points behind Arsenal and 2 points clear of Nottingham Forest, albeit Forest, who've probably got the easier running, will have a game in hand. But it's finished here at St James's. Ipswich Town are relegated after Newcastle United with a 3-0 victory. Paul Robinson.
Simple task for Newcastle this afternoon. A game you would expect them to win. Very professional performance, and it became very, very easy. Once Ipswich went down to 10 men, they didn't offer a lot of threat. Nick Pope was a mere spectator in the second half in the Newcastle goal. Newcastle got big games to come in the coming weeks. An important 3 points today in their push for the Champions League places.
So Ipswich Town join Leicester City and Southampton, and for back-to-back seasons in the Premier League, the 3 promoted teams are all relegated at the first attempt, and it's the first time in Premier League history that all 3 relegations have been confirmed with 4 games to go. Newcastle are moving on up. They're back to third in the Premier League. It's finished. Newcastle United 3, Ipswich Town 0.